Mr. Speaker, whilst we are at Richmond North, let me take this opportunity to say a very big thank you to the Minister for Roads for acceding my request for traffic light for the people of Tubodom.
This was the Member of Parliament for Richmond North on the floor of Parliament in July 2022, asking the Roads Minister when the contractors fixing the Tubodom traffic light will return to complete a job half done.
The contractors are halfway through. There are no more there. I hope that the Minister will let the contractors come back so that the accident at that intersection will be a thing of the past. But I'm really grateful to you for bringing the contractors in the first place. So when are they coming, Honourable Minister?
Roads Minister Amwako Atta in return assured the Member of Parliament that his ministry will ensure that the project will be completed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, traffic light issues are part of safety issues on our road, and again, due consideration will be given, and once started, my ministry will ensure that it will be completed.
There has since been back and forth within the district capital over whose efforts actually led to the installation of these traffic lights. On Wednesday, August 8th this year, the DCE was seen blocking the Techiman-Tamale highway as he attempts to deny the contractor and the MP access to the project site. This resulted into clash between supporters of the NPP and that of the NDC within the constituency. It took the police timely intervention to save the situation. 48 hours later after this unfortunate incident, the regional minister, after having a closed-door meeting with both the Member of Parliament and the DCE, led the contractor to complete this project under contention. Here is the Bono East Regional Minister, Kwesi Edujan, indicating that the DCE, within the later part of the year 2021, requested for the installation of traffic lights in the area.
Latter part of 2021, there was a letter documentation from the Assembly, headed by the District Chief Executive, indicating issues and then traffic difficulties over here. Hence, he called for the installation of traffic lights. This has been followed up to today. This equipment came yesterday and were handed over to the District Chief Executive for execution. But the situation has been very chaotic. So I've come today to let the people understand that it is the government of Ghana being led by the District Chief Executive to ensure that the people of Tubodom are safe and secure.
Available documents, however, reveal that the Member of Parliament for the area wrote to the Regional Department of Urban Roads in April 2021 requesting for traffic signal installation at the Tubodom-Ofuman intersection. Elizabeth Ofusu Ajare is the MP for Richmond North. She expressed excitement that the traffic light is finally being installed more than a year after its commencement.
Today, I am excited because fortunately, the contractors are back to finish off the traffic lights. I am very grateful to the Minister for Roads and Highways for making sure that we have this traffic lights. I am really excited. We all recall that in February 2021, I wrote to Urban Roads, and then April they replied me that this intersection needs a traffic light. Today, the request I made to the Minister for Roads and Highways has happened.
At last, this pull and push with regards to who is the mastermind behind the installation of traffic lights in Tubodom is being settled. Now, what does this mean to these residents who are seen in jubilant moods?
I'm very happy today. I'm very happy. The woman started the whole thing. She wrote the letter to the government that we need traffic lights. And the traffic lights in Aba, this year, Gigi. Into my man, no human family. I crack it one and never want to clone himself for Swedjari. But in the traffic lights, Abba Chrome has said, Jadana say, Mammy, Mania Diabroso, If he say traffic light here by and yeah this see nanka wabare so anyo oba kukudu for say jare na ama ya bi ati mani ati ya ni age pa say betima to the pam kama na ya akwa hwe ya ma so me ya ni age mo no so da ni age na ka boya ya ma me tia oba ya na ayro ho o me ya ni nje nti ya say ya ma me dia o me ya ni age pa atra o ya ni age.
These people are hopeful that the traffic unit will help solve the age-long challenge of pedestrian knockdowns in the area.
And that's the note on which we start off the show this Friday morning. That interesting twist in Tuabodom where a member of parliament and a DCE were fighting. Fighting over what? A traffic light. But little surprise in a country where we even have a jamboree launching KVIPs. This is the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akako. Expect nothing but fire this morning on the show. The news will come your way in just a bit, and right after that, Samuel Mbura of our political desk joins me for the review. On Prime Take today, the spotlight will be thrown on a former Black Stars player. Oh, can you guess? Inkoom. I'm talking about Samuel Inkoom. He'll be joining Muftau Nabila Abdullahi on Prime Take for today. But when we get into the big stories, what can you expect? Ecowas says it's activating its standby forces for deployment to Niger. It appears the military or martial option has not been thrown out the window. Now, what should we be expecting in the coming days? Well, the putschists, the coup makers, meet the Ecowas team. They've rejected them so far. What are the implications for any military intervention in Niger? We'll be hearing from security experts on that beat. But as always, it's going to be hot, raw, undiluted, and edited as I share with you my blunt thoughts. And today, you guessed right, I'm going to be talking about those topical matters. What's the title? Of elite criminals and the impoverishment of the masses. The saga continues. That is the title. You don't want to miss it. Stick and stay. We'll be right back with the news. Let's settle now for the news, and in our first story, Ecowas has ordered the activation of its standby force after its ultimatum to Niger's military junta elapsed. Now, a communique after a meeting of heads of state of the regional bloc in Nigeria said all options were still on the table. Niger's elected president, Mohamed Bazoum, was ousted at the end of last month, and the coup leaders have since resisted diplomatic attempts to resolve the crisis. President of the Ecowas Commission, Omar Aliou Touré, read the decision of the summit.
C. Uphold all measures and principles agreed upon by the extraordinary summit held on Niger on 30th July 2023. Underscore the determination of the ECOWAS authority to keep all options on the table for the peaceful resolution of the crisis. Enforce all measures, in particular border closures and strict travel bans and assets freeze, on all persons or groups of individuals whose actions hinder all peaceful efforts aimed at ensuring the smooth and complete restoration of constitutional order. Warn member states who, by their action directly or indirectly, hindered the peaceful resolution of the crisis in Niger, about the consequences for their action before the community. Call on the African Union to endorse all the decisions taken by the ECOWAS authority on the situation in Niger. Further call on all partner countries and institutions, including the United Nations, to support ECOWAS in its effort to ensure a quick restoration of constitutional order in conformity with its normative instruments. Direct the President of the Commission to monitor the implementation of the sanctions.
He also expressed concern for the health and safety of the democratically elected president who has spent more than 2 weeks under house arrest.
A, reiterates its strong condemnation of the attempted coup d'etat and the continued illegal detention of President Mohamed Bazoum, his family, and members of his government. B, further condemns the condition in which President Bazoum is being detained and hold the CNSP fully and solely responsible for the safety, security, and physical integrity of President Bazoum, members of his family, and government.
Now, in our next story, 35-year-old alleged fugitive and pedophile is standing trial at the Wa Circuit Court over 11 counts of sexually assaulting 12 minors in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region. The accused, who is a popular master of ceremonies for Islamic marriages, is alleged to have committed the act at his house and in the bush and giving them 10 Ghana cedis with a promise of giving them the opportunity of dancing in public whenever the MC was performing at weddings. Joy News' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that the case, though adjourned till next Monday, and the accused, though remanded to police custody, will be heard daily.
It is a case of public interest, and residents of Wa thronged and flooded the forecourt of the Wa Circuit Court, spilling into the streets few times, blocking vehicular traffic. 35-year-old popular local master of ceremony for weddings, Rashid Ahmed, better known by his fans as Anata, faces 11 counts of sexual assault at the Wa Circuit Court. His victims' ages ranges between 10 and 15 years. The alleged sexual assault read at the court took place between 2021 and 2023. Wearing blue-black Muslim prayer gown over multicolored slippers, he was handcuffed at the back, sandwiched by uniformed and plainclothes policemen, and taken to the court. He was motionless, wore a frown, and clattered his teeth as the facts of all 11 counts were read to him. Anata denied the offenses during investigation and his caution statement. Most of the alleged sexual assault took place at his house at Adabia, a suburb of Wa, and the rest in a bush where they leaned on his motorbike for the amorous and beastly act. In most of the cases, the accused gave his victim 10 Ghana cedis and a promise of giving opportunity to dance at marriage ceremonies where he will serve as the master of ceremony. Principal State Attorney at the Attorney General's Department, Lawyer Said Abdul Shakur, who was leading the prosecution, prayed to the court for the accused to be remanded into police custody to enable them finish with their investigation. Lawyer Said Abdul Shakur also told the court, because of the charged atmosphere outside the court, coupled with the public interest in the case, the accused should be kept behind bars for his own safety.
He is a flight risk. Somebody who has left the jurisdiction before, we cannot be sure he will not escape. Considering the gravity of the offenses and the punishment that is likely to be meted out if he is convicted, we are talking about a minimum of 8 years and a maximum of 25 years for each of the counts. If we succeed in our case, he might be going in for a long time. So if the court allow him on bail, we might be left holding the cheeky end of the stick. We might not get him to trial. And we also say that it is in his own interest, because the anger, you can gauge the anger in society. You can reach out to it. You can see that people are hungry. For over 15 years of practice as a lawyer here, I've never seen this number of persons in court before. And this is the first time I've seen almost the entire society at court. If such a person is turned loose, we might not even get him to try, because people might take the law into their own hands.
The presiding judge, His Honor Jonathan Abugo, granted the wish of the prosecutors and remanded the accused into police custody and to reappear Monday, 4th of August. In 2014, the accused was arrested and slapped with similar charges for allegedly enticing and sexual assaulting over 10 underage girls. He was arrested and later released for lack of evidence.
All is because this society seems to enjoy living with criminals. Otherwise, you will not understand why anyone would want to interfere in a matter like this. But the last time he was arrested, I was here, I was still very young here as a lawyer, but I remember it vividly that people went behind the scene and took the victims away, so we couldn't get anybody to testify. This time we have all that covered. We have all our plans in place to ensure that nobody will go behind anywhere and touch any of the victims. We are going to go through this trial and we will do it expeditiously.
Some weeks ago, it was rumored that the alleged fugitive and pedophile will be in town to MC some weddings in the one municipality. From the look of things, it appears his chance of doing that just got a lot slimmer. Anata loves to crack jokes and dance. The dance floor is one place he commands authority. Export, you are unlikely going to see him fail, but you realize that this court is a different place. Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Now, the South Dayi District Chief Executive, Godwin Kwame Dadziwa, has filed to contest the New Patriotic Party parliamentary candidates primary in the South Dayi District of the Volta region. He believes his performance as head of the district within the last 3 years puts him in a position to wrest the seat from the National Democratic Congress's Nelson Dafiamekbo. There is more in this report put together by Fred Kwame Asari.
Godwin Kwame Dadziwa was appointed South Dayi District Chief Executive in 2021. He led the assembly to undertake about 30 projects, including supervising the Agenda 111 project. He was trailed by some executives and electoral area coordinators to successfully file his nomination to contest in the New Patriotic Party parliamentary primaries. Mr. Dadziwa said he decided to contest to respond to calls from the locals for him to lead a paradigm shift in the development of the constituency.
I started even my basic, let me say, nursery KG, primary school, elementary school, secondary school, which is now senior high in this place. Even after 6th form, I came down to do my national service here. I'm always with the people. I'm not someone brought from Accra. I'm locally bred, brought up person here. So the locals, they are calling for me. And the local, they form the majority. Election day, those who come from outside this constituency are not many. Most of the registered voters are residing in this constituency, so they are calling for me.
He promised to wrestle the seat from the incumbent MP, Nelson Dapaah, who would contest the parliamentary elections on the ticket of the NDC in 2024.
Honorable Dapaah, you say he's my good friend, eh? Yeah, he's my very good friend. He hasn't met any young guy since he started his political activities here. The first person he contested is an old man. The second person he contested is an old man. Now he's a youth. I'm also a youth. And you can see that the people over here, they are full of youth. And the youth is the strength and the power of winning election. If the youth are with you, it means definitely you win the election. So all the youth are with me.
Go around the constituency. Classrooms are being built. Agenda 111 is on at Peve and a lot of other programs. Just yesterday, we started campaigning for a project of climate change adaptation. All these are reasons for which the people are supporting the bid for Jaja to become what? The Honorable Member of Parliament for us. What we are looking at is not about NDC or MPP. It is about the development of the people of South Dayi. It is about emancipating the people and giving them their fair share of the national cake.
The South Dayi NPP chairman, Aaron Amwaku, hinted at the DCE, Mr. Dadziwa, going unopposed in the primary.
You can be assured that the guy will be talked to. Consensus building is also part of democracy. So as long as it's end today, I think and I want to believe there will be talks beyond this and say if DC will be allowed to be on our ticket unopposed, and by so doing, I think that unity will
will foster very well in the constituency.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Peki Avetile.
Now, on our next story, healthcare workers in the Greater Accra region are calling on the government to establish a health insurance policy that safeguards their well-being. Despite their daily sacrifices for the lives of Ghanaians, they lack adequate insurance protection. This appeal was made during an awards ceremony held to recognize the dedication of frontline healthcare workers in combating the COVID-19 virus. There's more in this report.
The Office of the President, in partnership with the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, has recognized 5,000 frontline and allied health workers across the 29 districts of the Greater Accra region for their remarkable contributions towards the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking at the event, Chairman of the Greater Accra Regional Directors of Health, Dr. Ebenezer Isiama, indicated that although healthcare workers prioritize the well-being of the nation, their own welfare is often overlooked.
I want to use this opportunity to thank our President for recognizing all of us in the health sector and other fraternities to the health sector. It means that really they have seen the good work that we did through the COVID time. I am not Oliver Twist, but I would ask that the President should still consider health workers and the good things we are doing, in as much as we don't even have an insurance policy for health workers. There's no insurance policy. We sacrifice daily. And our motto says that your health, our concern. So for our health, who is concerned? It is a question. And I believe the President will hear us.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte assured that his office would collaborate with the Ministry of Health to address their concerns.
I know that Mr. President has talked about these incentives by way of motivating those in the health sector or fraternity and other disciplines. So we will convey same through the Minister of Health to His Excellency the President. But I know that it will be no news to the President because we know that he has plans of that nature. It is only that we have to pray and get our economy back on track.
Some awardees share their concerns with Joy News.
I'm very elated and I'm very happy that all the things that we went through has been recognized by the country, and today we've been awarded with this certificate. We will be happy if we also have some form of health insurance scheme to take care of us when we are not feeling well.
I'm very grateful to the President for appreciating our work. In fact, it wasn't an easy journey. It was a very great task. We work in communities where we don't have decent accommodations, and you have to struggle out to lay your head. So I think by that call, the whole nation should be looking at it to see how best we can put the health service and even all other institutions in the right perspective.
The nation will continue to appreciate the unwavering commitment of these health workers in the fight against COVID-19. Esther Nkrumah's report read to you.
Well, that's our recap of the news. Do stay with us. The news review up next. Well, thank you for staying with us. Time now for us to get into the newspapers. And before I introduce the person I'm going to be doing it with, for those of you who caught the start of the show, you know. But if you didn't, you'll be finding out shortly. This segment brought to us all by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Now, what are they offering? If you're a man, prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening, gratis. Untia she. Just make tracks to any of their branches, and here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra, they are at Spentex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Isiama in Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the newspaper review, and from our political desk, we give you, ladies and gentlemen, Samuel Mbura.
Mr. Samuel Mbura.
AKA, should I tell them?
Mr. Samuel Mbura.
Mr. Samuel Mbura.
Exactly.
Should I give the AKA?
Oh, no. That one is between myself and you, so let's keep it there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wanted to do some patois with your AKA.
Oh, come on. Let's hold it for now. Maybe some other time. But today.
Bakusro. Ayo. So, even before we get into the papers, you see this woman, this senior woman.
Is that Auntie Zizi?
Auntie Zizi. Mamna.
I see.
Obrafo has this song.
Yeah.
What name's Mambo? We are saying so. You have a
good voice. I think you have to go into music.
And you're me. Anyway, there's also that. I mean, this is just on the lighter side. Yeah. There's that video making the rounds where a man accosts a woman for, mishandling her child, mistreating her. If she wants, how much can she consume?
Yeah.
And all of that. And so he's accosting the mother and all of that. And then, so he takes out some money and gives it to the child. Then he asks the child, something occurs to him. So he asks the child, but what's your name? And she says, Cecilia. Cecilia what? Cecilia Dapaah. And then
Benjamin.
He takes his money back. I mean, it's just something funny. Like, people are giving this all kinds of
interesting.
dimensions. But on a more serious note, and today as I share my blunt thoughts, I'll be getting into that matter with you. If you look at the sums of money involved, we actually took time to do the calculation. If you take out what was taken from her home and all of that, you get around 114 million Ghana cedis. If you add what was taken from her home and all of that, you are looking at around 120 plus million Ghana cedis. So you're looking at her bank accounts. I think it's Prudential Bank and SGSSB.
Okay.
Then you are looking at the investments. Then you are looking at all the other breakdowns. And that's what.
That's interesting. Actually, yesterday when I heard the figures, I had headache all of a sudden.
Headache?
Yeah.
Oh, not a migraine.
Oh, serious. When Elton broke the news on the midday news, all of us were like, wow, really, this for an individual? And you're able to sleep. I actually asked that question. You have this amount of money at home and also in your bank accounts. I can imagine how you feel, whether you're able to sleep and open your eyes. Do you go regularly to check your money, whether it is sitting there or not? Someone said, don't let poverty let you think like that. Maybe when you get there, you understand it better. I don't think.
Maybe Sebi like we say in our local parlance. I will not mention the other part.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah, you hear something. Maybe we don't know what's up. So,
yeah.
But anyway, the OSP talking about some of the sums of money. We should be careful about mentioning them in those in the bank and all of that. The papers themselves are mentioning them, so I don't know what he's. But anyway. I have the Daily Guide this morning and the Ghanaian Publisher. What do you have?
The Finder, Daily Graphic, and Today.
All right. So let's get into them. Let's start with the Daily Graphic. Usually there's a lot more pages and a lot more meat in there. So let's start with the Daily Graphic.
The big story here has to do with the search reveals more cash in Cecilia Dapaah's house. It comes with a picture captured in page 13 of the Daily Graphic, just like what you were talking about, the fact that OSP in this investigation has uncovered some monies at her house. So the investigations conducted at the residence of the former minister for Sanitation, Water and Resources, Cecilia Dapaah, by officers of the Special Prosecutor led to the retrieval of an additional $590,000 and 2.73 million Ghana cedis from the house at Abelempe in Accra. The cash has since been seized by the OSP on the grounds that it was suspected to be tainted property. You are a legal person, so you'll be in the better position to explain to us what we mean by tainted property. The OSP has subsequently directed the freezing of the bank accounts of Ms. Dapaah at the Prudential Bank and Societe Generale Bank there. So yesterday, that's where we're told that in two separate accounts on the Prudential at Prudential Bank, we're told that it is a transaction within a particular period of time, but we don't know the period of time that this money has been lodged in, or this transaction has taken place on her account. So the $5 million that we're told yesterday is not an exact money sitting in her account at the time the OSP requested to freeze the account. But that is a transaction within a particular period of time, according to sources. But we don't know the exact time, whether it is 3 months or 5 months. But the fact is that $5 million is in one of the Prudential Bank accounts. So investigations are still ongoing. We had the OSP in the statement there indicating that it has not revealed any information to the media. But the OSP has not also denied. It has all. That's exactly what I'm saying. If we go to social media, there's an argument people are advancing. So if you say that you have not revealed any information, fine. But tell us what you have. Just clear the air.
There's this saying, I don't know whether I'm getting it right, but I see, kukuru ne jaya, kika nsubede.
Yeah. So we've had calls from various quarters. Let us not deal with this issue emotionally, but allow the law to take its course.
Oh, as for the law, it must take its course, do what it has to do. We just hope that it does it timeously. And all of that. But I'm curious, though. I am very curious about, for me, all I am looking forward to is hearing Cecilia Dapaah just give us a count. I mean, look, authors, for example, I read a lot, so I happen to know, is it J.K. Rowling, among others. I think at a point she was the richest author. I don't know whether she still is. You can look at the Sidney Sheldons, the John Grishams, the Stephen Kings. In Africa, I'm not mentioning African authors because sometimes it's difficult knowing their net worth. But even the Professor Chinua Achebe's, unfortunately he's passed. May his soul rest in peace. The Ayikwe, Okines, and others. You can talk about the Amata Eidus, the Ngugi wa Thiongos, and all those, the Betty Heads. They make something out of their writing careers. Recently, you could talk about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. All of these people, so even writers can tell you they've made so many millions just off writing, some of the most celebrated across the world. There's this one I've forgotten. He's written for about 40 years. He has so much. But then again, all we're interested in is source. Right? Just prove. So is that why? And now even the supposed 1 million and the 800,000 that we're told some stories about in terms of it belongs to this person or it was Ansawa Bodie, we got it from a funeral donations and all of that has now come. I think that is where the crux of the matter
the inconsistencies in the explanations.
So that I feel is where I don't think the masses have been treated fairly. And that is also where I feel if we don't get it right, then perception moves from being mere perception and becomes some people's reality. And that is problematic.
Exactly. And I think the way this issue has been handled is not helpful. Or it hasn't been helpful a lot at all. Because most Ghanaians are asking the question, what at all, how much exactly is the amount? Where is she getting the money from?
Right.
As a minister, what's her previous profession? Like, I know they normally declare their assets. What is in that envelope? Can you open it? Let's know. Maybe we're able to track it. Is it a family business? Is it a family contribution? Maybe this will help us to unravel it. But in the meantime, it's like many people are using emotion because there's already anger in the system.
Right.
They say that
that is exactly what I'm saying.
There's no money in the system. But we are seeing ministers of the government having such amount of money at home.
You get the point.
Some of them are really...
I was in two locations yesterday. 2 locations, public places. One of them was a barbershop. And I was just listening to surrounding conversation.
Yeah.
And people are angry that, Charlie boys, they hustle, so to speak.
I hope national security, as part of its public reactions, is collating some of these sentiments of Ghanaians. Don't take them for granted.
Oh, yeah.
We should not take them for granted.
Do you know something? When there are issues, whether positive or negative, do you know the places you hear them?
The trotros,
barbershops,
you go to
salons,
beer bars.
Exactly. You get the drift. In fact, that is where you would get your intel from. I don't know whether they are going to these places and getting...
They are there.
But one thing I've come to realize, though, in the midst of all of this, the MPP was right when it said Yetisikaso. I'll not add the rest.
That's another issue.
But indeed, Yetisikaso.
Right. So the other big story towards energy sufficiency, nuclear power inches home. Installation site identified, vendor selection ongoing. It comes with a picture of Dr. Archibald Boakofi, Deputy Director, Nuclear Power Institute. So the country's quest to produce power from nuclear energy, one of the most reliable sources of power generation, has been given a further boost with the identification of a preferred site for the plant. So the nuclear plant, Power Ghana, which is executing the project, has identified a preferred site and a backup site for the installation of the country's first nuclear power plant. It has also initiated the process of selecting the technology vendor to mount the nuclear power plant. So this was addressed reviewed at a press conference in Accra that was on Wednesday. I think that beyond the hydro, one area we have not tapped into is the solar energy. I've always said that those in the northern part of Ghana do not need power from Akosombo. We don't need it from Akosombo.
It makes
I remember
absolutely no sense.
It makes no sense.
No sense.
You still transport power all the way from Akosombo to the northern part of the country when you can tap on the solar lights there to generate power.
Of course, there's the NETCO situation, but I'm saying you could source from that.
Yeah.
You have practically 90+% of sunshine throughout the year.
Yeah.
In fact, all year round.
We just have
do you know what is lamentable?
Rains? Yeah.
I spoke to someone on WhatsApp call yesterday in the UK, and they have a bit of sunshine. So immediately everybody wants to come out. Yeah. They are bringing the kids out so that they will get a bit of that vitamin D and the rest. In other places, sunshine is like gold to them. Yeah. Here, we have it all year round.
And we are joking. We are not thinking outside the box.
Oh, my word, what a country.
There was a project like that in Navrongo, in the Upper East region.
Right.
As to, the last time I checked, the project is still, it has added to the grid, but I think it is not enough. You have street lights in the Upper East region, Upper West region, Northern region, still tapping into the national grid, when you can use solar system to cut down the cost. And I'm surprised that over the years, our focus is not on solar energy. It is expensive, one will argue, but in the long run,
it's like
it's going to be beneficial.
It's like getting an AC or a fridge with an inverter.
Yeah.
It's really expensive at the start, but if you look at your electricity consumption, especially in these times, and what it will save you, it makes a lot of sense moving forward. But will we do it?
Yeah.
I've always referenced, how many blunt stores haven't I done on solar energy? I think it was Algeria or Morocco. I think it was Algeria with the largest.
Yeah, the North African countries. Yeah. They leverage.
If you see the solar farms, and especially when we have the threat of the IPPs and everything, you would think we would be smart enough to move. Now we are thinking nuclear. You can't even manage solar. You are thinking nuclear.
That's interesting. There's one interesting story from Kurasi community. There's a mango tree in this community. It's around Sampa. Have you been to Sampa before? I think early 2008, 2008 thereabout, I was in that area. You know, it connects to Côte d'Ivoire, Dizela, Drobo, those communities I'm much familiar with. So there's one old century-long tree. It's a mango tree.
Century-old tree.
Yes, century-old tree. That has 3 different fruits. That is what the report is saying. 3 different fruits.
Was it grafted?
So I just bring you the details of that. But it is believed to be natural. It has been produced naturally. And it's actually a place that we can be used as a tourist site. So the Kurasi, a farming community located 10 kilometers from the capital of German, North District, that's Sampa, holds the biggest and the oldest mango tree in the Bono region. Notwithstanding the poor nature of the road leading to the community, people trooped to this community to catch a glimpse of this wonderful mango tree, which has continued to stand the test of time. Elsewhere, the site of the biggest mango tree would have probably been devolved long ago to generate income.
Tourist site. Massive tourist
So the history is that the mango tree seedling was planted between 1740 and 1818 during the intertribal wars between the people of Techiman and Ashanti. It is believed that the people of Techiman who once settled in the area planted the mango tree, which has survived to become the mother of all mango trees in the region. The giant mango tree is unique because of its huge stem and branches and how tall it stands among other mango tree species. It also has many big roots and a huge stem. So the unique features are what I just explained, that it produces 3 different type of fruits on the same mango tree.
It may have been...
I hope the Ghana...
There may have been some grafting or something. But you see,
I hope the Ghana Tourism Authority looks into it and then go and develop
I've come this close to giving up on Ghana and developing tourist sites.
Yeah.
Even the major ones. Look at the roads to some of them. Yeah. The roads. In terms of hotel, lodging infrastructure, how have we left some of these places? And I keep mentioning, the other day, again, from the UK, there's this university lecturer, actually a student pursuing, I think, her PhD or something. And she reached out to me in terms of tourism in Ghana. Yeah. So we had a conversation. And as we spoke, some of what she even said from her research just left me upset, because I'm aware of some of them.
Yeah.
So you know of that place. I have to really get back and check the location. Where Nkrumah back then used to go and relax when things got too hot here in Accra. He would go. It's somewhere in the north, okay? That place is dilapidated, overgrown with weeds. It has been, and I'm sure that building maybe has come down or will be coming down. I don't know whether you know specifically.
I think there's one building on top of a hill around Karaminga going to...
It may be the one. Region, when we could have developed that place and done with it what we've done with the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
Yeah.
And get a whole lot of visitors, not coming just to the southern area, to the northern belt of the country. We have the Tamale Airport. There's this place where Okomfo Adokye supposedly, just like the story of King Arthur, deposited a sword in a stone. A few years ago, a friend went there and said, the place didn't look, that congenial. Weeds and everything. I hear things have changed a bit. But in terms of the mindset, if you look at how those in other jurisdictions can make the most of even some of the things that you would call insignificant, and we have things like this, and we sit on them.
We are not serious. Now, let me go the last story on the back page of the Daily Graphic. Roads Ministry to build temporary bridges, pathways in Northeast. This story is very important because the Northeast regional capital, which is Nalerigo, has been cut off from Wale Wale. So Wale Wale is the hometown of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. My focus is, in 2019, there was a fanfare where a sword was cut for the construction of the Palugo multi-purpose dam.
Yeah. A dam which has not seen the light of day.
Amounting to $993 million.
Almost $1 billion.
And the Sino Hydro deal. Now, the reason I'm making this relation is the fact that this was one of the reasons the dam was to be constructed, to control floods in both Northeast, Upper East region, and parts of Upper West region, because that stretch runs across. And now, we don't know the state of the project yet, Benjamin. And it is something that we're all told that money to be committed into the project, so that at least it will help assuage the situation of floods in the region, Upper East and Northeast region. 2, you use it to develop hydropower.
Yeah.
3, you use it for irrigational purpose.
Irrigation.
Project, no way.
Project Yamutu. How many years now?
That's 4 years. We hope that they go ahead and do it. Because the last time I checked, they did the environmental impact assessment. I know consultants went and engaged the communities along that belt.
Project we have consulted on it forever.
Relevant people have gotten in touch with the farmers. Some of the farmers were even told to relocate, a whole lot. But where is the block work? When is the project actually starting?
If Nkrumah had done the talk, the big talk, like we've done with the Palugo multipurpose dam, we wouldn't have Akosombo.
Yeah, that
tells you about the difference between leadership and misleadership. Especially now, you see how relevant it is with the IPP situation, with our power challenges. And I'm saying it here. Some people want to play jokes with it. I've said that having experienced a bit of let me tell you, Rawlings, there were some few situations. Then Kufuor, there was a bit of doom. So then the major one, Atamils Mahama. Why should you resolve a problem and a few years down the line have to get to the point where you are in the same mess? Who does that?
Yeah, I think that project is actually a game changer. Ben, if you have been up there, you understand the predicament. It's not a mad emotion story, but this is what the people want. Just help. Other countries, it is not the citizens that will demand, but the government out of its own initiative will make that move that, look, let us industrialize these areas, use dry season farming, and then take advantage of the flooding situation. And then we can collect this water and make it better. And that's why some of us think that this One Village, One Dam project, yes, it was a good initiative. But why if we had pumped all these monies, people can travel all the way from any part of the Upper East region to the Northeast region or the Palugu area to go and farm.
You know what? Let's move on.
Maybe we'll discuss this another day.
Some of the matters make my heart bleed and just leave me angry, honestly.
All right. Today, newspaper, don't leave politics to, I don't know if I can say that, but quotes, foolish people. Inkoom. BOG Bruhaha indiscipline calls for losses. Bagben is making a very important call here that I think we should all take serious notice of. Bagben pushes for local dialect to be used as official language. I don't know what your stance is on this.
I think there can be a fusion. I mean, we've come far with English, and it plays its role. But the use of local dialects also, I feel, should have some pride of place. I mean, recently, was it Mali? That said that, you know, they were detaching from French as a...
using their own language.
Exactly. I feel, you see, sometimes we take this for granted. One of the most powerful tools in terms of controlling people is linguistic. Language. I feel we should give prime of place to our local languages, but I also feel that for Francophone Africa,
so Ghana, for instance,
Lusophone Africa...
which of the languages can we use? Which of the languages can we use in Ghana? If we are
and that is where I have a problem. Because then you can't come and say, oh, maybe a lot of people speak Tree, so let's make no. Because some people will also say, you get it.
But Benjamin,
there is a certain predominance, but then...
Don't you think that's a reasonable argument? Because, look, there's no remote part of the country that you go and speak Tree, the person wouldn't understand.
Yeah, but not everyone speaks Tree. I know people from different parts of the country who don't speak Tree.
But they understand.
They may not, but they are not fluent. And mind you, in communicating in Parliament, you need to articulate properly. You need to make your point. And mind you, the handset will capture what you say. So if you say something that maybe you don't mean to, it becomes problematic. So I'm just saying that, yes, we could judge on this from the Northern Belt. Which language, for example, could we adopt? From the Middle Belt, which language?
That would be problematic.
Maybe from the Southern
That's
Belt.
where the challenge is.
Then maybe we could have a bit of... because we can't just go with, let's say...
No,
I don't agree with that either.
All right, so is it the case that we should get translators in Parliament? Maybe an MP from Bongo will speak his Green language. Someone from Tamale, like
that is
Rabu
where it
Mutaka,
becomes
will speak his
problematic.
Dagbani.
But there is always a way of going around it. I feel we should give more prime of place. There are too many people who cannot speak any local languages. And now, you know, a bit of a crazy thing for me. There are some Ghanaians who intentionally prevent their children from learning any local languages. It's all about speak English. You don't know what you're doing.
The L1. You're missing the L1.
Let me tell you. And the point is, to learn English, French, and the rest, do you know the best way of doing it? Through your local language. So that you already understand certain things locally, and then you can translate that. You get it. It's really problematic.
Let's see how that will go. But the last paper with me, the finder, says why vilify BOG.
So you have to be quick on that so I can get a bite from my papers.
All right. Why vilify BOG for saving the economy and slowing down rising cost of living? That's a question there. Oil and gas, Ghana and Guyana discuss leveraging local content. Comes with a picture of Gabi Asari Ochi Dako. Sorry.
Okay, so you confirmed it, but Muftau Nabila has also confirmed it. He says the place I was talking about is in Karimenga, in between Wulugu and Pwalugu. So indeed, you were right. Muftau, thank you for that. It's not just sports. What do I say? Or should I also give his nickname? No, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so the Daily Guide newspaper, Mahama attacks Bank of Ghana governor. It's all about the talk recently. And,
the losses?
The losses, but of course, the internal. For me, it's the internal bit. So they say their building has been there since, was it the 1960s? And that it can't withstand earthquakes and all of that. I don't know when, you know, our place became an earthquake-prone zone. But yes, you can understand those formalities. My issue has to do with $250 million, 2.8 billion cedis. I don't know. I really don't know. In these economic times, I really don't know. That's $250 million. Then there are the sums of money, the $8,000 given on a monthly basis to directors, amounting to, I mean, you know, in other jurisdictions, when the credit crunch, the economic situation, 2008 going, people had CEOs and stuff had salaries and perks slashed, in some cases taken away. In our country, I don't know how our leaders simply cannot get that. Some of those masses grinding at the bottom. One meal, not to talk of square meal, one meal a day is a problem. Yet the person who is selling charcoal, cocoa, and all of that, you are still taxing them into the ground, directly and indirectly. And yet some people are earning so much, and you think it is justified.
Yeah, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. There's no any reasonable explanation, but that's the situation we found ourselves. What can we do?
Well, power is transient, and if they are looking at what is happening all over the place, let me leave it that way, I think they will think deeper into some of these matters. Julius Deborah runs from Veep. You know, recently there's been the tag that, he could be one of those. And he says, please.
I don't have
leave me alone. Yeah. I don't have those aspirations. OSP finds $590,000 and 2.73 million Ghana cedis in Cecilia Dapaah's house. Otumfuo distills Abodom chief over Galamsey. That one is an interesting one.
We must commend His Royal Majesty for taking that bold step to serve as a deterrent to others.
Yeah. And Ghana's commitment to Guyana Rail, Gabi Otre Dako. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Anyway, I just had to read that headline. Okay. On the international front, Ugandan leader accuses World Bank of coercion. You know what has happened? Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has accused the World Bank of seeking to coerce the government over its anti-LGBT legislation. It follows the announcement by the lender, that is the World Bank, that it was suspending any new loans to the country on the grounds that the law against same-sex relations contradicts its values.
So this one is just a wake-up call to African leaders. Look, it's high time you partnered, make yourself financially strong, so you don't go begging.
I'm saying that
such sanctions will not come to you.
Ghana is a member of the IMF and the World Bank, and and Uganda as well. And I'm saying that yes, you may have your position on LGBTQII+, okay, about the rights and everything in between. That is a separate issue. But to tell me that your principles, whatever values, so you're not going to, I wholly agree with you. Yeah. And if we were thinking better as leadership and not having misleadership, ask yourself again, the Arab countries who are self-sufficient, oil money and the rest.
Can you impose that on them? And
even beer, the last World Cup, even the drinking of beer. You are in my country. You come to Rome, you do what the Romans do. You get it?
So
can we do that in Ghana?
No.
Because we have nothing. Yeah. We have nothing.
You're a beggar.
Exactly.
You're a beggar, so you have no choice. Why don't you have the resources?
We have everything, but we have nothing.
What don't we have in Ghana? What don't we have in Africa? Can't we leverage on that and make ourselves financially sufficient? I don't know, always calling on to the Bretton Woods institutions for support. So such support come with, their conditions. Yeah. So if you can't, make yourself self-sufficient.
They be okafu didi. Dabe na unsu be freebie. Dabe na unsu be freebie.
Say lala sulala.
Okafu didi. And even the eka is not eka for the people.
Yeah.
It is eka for a few
people to enjoy.
Otumfuo distills Abodom chief over Galamsey, and the Asantehene Otumfuo said to has distiled Nana Saforo Koto, the chief of Bekwai Abodom in the Ashanti region, for engaging in indiscriminate sale of lands to illegal miners. He was removed from the stool after failing to prove his innocence of about 20 charges made against him by some community members. Nana Saforo Koto was accused of indiscriminately selling land to illegal miners, which tend to foster illegal mining operations in the area, colloquially known as Galamsey operations, harming water bodies in the enclave. We need a lot more of
this. So a traditional leader acting like or behaving like this, how would you expect the politician to listen to you? The people have given the land to you. You are holding in custody the land titles, or you are supposed to superintend over the well-being of the people. And if you, as a chief, go to this extreme to destroy your environment, you don't think about the next generation. So if a politician comes to your backyard, do you have that, tenacity to say, oh, do this, don't do that? It's sickening.
As for Ghana,
we must commend His Royal Majesty Otunfo Asei there for taking that bold step. I hope other places they'll also learn. If such drastic measures continue, I think we'll be on the right path. I know Erasmus is coming out with a documentary on how some of the forests have been destroyed.
And some people will say, oh, the fight against Galamsey is,
Meanwhile, we tend to blame the politician. We tell the political class. We blame the political class. But if
they are also in the mix.
No, they are in the mix.
Like Erasmus
you as a traditional authority,
lot of these Galamsey, do you know why you can't solve the problem? Because some of the people behind them are political actors. You go to certain places. Erasmus said it live on air. You get calls and all of that. It is the political elements themselves, a lot of the time, who are behind Galamsey. So and they are the people supposedly fighting it. It's just a pretense.
If you're a chief in a particular area, your people are solidly behind you. A politician tells you, look, I want someone to invade your forest, come and destroy it, destroy the future of your people there. And you said, no, my people are against you. You think that that politician will have that power within to do what he or she wants to you?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a decision. It's a choice.
Our time is up. We have to go. The Ghanaian publisher, Customer Convenience is our focus, ADBMD, as bank records 52 million Ghana cedi profit. And then there is Volta bigwigs urge delegates to vote for Dr. Efria Akoto. And then we must be wary of civil revolution, Bagman wants. Let me just take a few of your messages. So Maxim Akam says, Ghana can't have a local language as an official language. It's as simple as that. We have more pressing issues to look at solving than talking about which local language to use as an official language. Then you disagree with the speaker, but I think it should play a certain role in our national development. We've become too anglicized. Yeah. I love the English language. I love languages, but we should represent what is ours as well. This one says, good morning, Joy News. Watching live in my bed at Soga Kope, Idechilo. Anyway, and then Arisno Nwanko Isaiah says, watching from the land of Ezekuna, Ebonyi State, Nigeria. I had to shout this person out all the way from Nigeria. Oftentimes we get people from Gambia, Gabon, Nigeria, Liberia.
An old student contacted me from Australia.
Australia?
Yeah, he's an old student of Bogatanga Senior High School, Big Boss. We pride ourselves as Tanga BC. We say Tanga means rock. Children of the rock. So Tanga BCs. Okay, let me just say good morning to all Tanga BCs.
Okay.
All students of Big Boss. He was actually, he's someone who...
So you are a big boss?
Yeah, a big boss.
No wonder. You act like a boss. Anyway, that's how we cap off the news review. Samuel Mbura of our political desk joining us. Right before we get into Prime Take with Muftao Nabella, this segment brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Just reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siaman Zima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But today we have a big one for you. Samuel Inkoom, and I was in an Inkoom da. Samuel Inkoom interacts with Muftao Nabella Abdullahi on Prime Take. Up next, enjoy.
Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm fine.
Hope you're doing good.
I'm not bad, brother.
Yeah, you look good though.
Thank you.
The money has come, isn't it?
Yeah, you are looking amazing as well, brother. You are managing, brother.
You look damn good.
Thank you.
What is the secret?
Hard working, that's it.
Just working hard?
Just working hard.
When you say hard working, what do you mean?
I mean, everybody know, like, we play football. I'm talking about football, so I have to take good care of myself as well. So, yeah, I don't want to wait before tournament or before league. Then I will start maybe getting in shape. I do it even off season as well. So, yeah.
So, what was your upbringing like?
I think it's not easy for me. I started in secondary And from secondary, I moved to Windy Professional, which is Winneba as well. Yeah. It was not easy though, but the most important thing that I said to myself that I want to be a professional football one day, and now, yeah.
When you say it was not easy, what do you mean?
I mean, you know, in football-wise, you have to have, the facilities. You understand? And if I'm talking about facility, when I was in Winneba, it's not everything that you can get it there. You understand? Sometimes you have to struggle in terms of even balls to train, even the pitch itself. You understand? But I put it inside me that whether I like it or not, I want to be professional one day, and this is Samuel Inkoom now.
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in secondary.
Okay.
And like I said, from secondary, I came to Windy Professional. So I was the Winneba Sports Academy almost like almost like 8 years there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went there when I was 10 years though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was there for a couple of trainings in Mina Academy. We started under 15 Academy. So I was seeing also big boys though, like Blasters used to come there, under 17, under 20, 23. So I was lucky to also see all the national teams, they come there for also preparation when they have tournament, you know.
So how many siblings do you have?
We have 6.
6?
Yes, 6.
And you are number?
I'm number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
The other siblings, do they also play football?
No, none of them. None of them.
Why?
I don't know. You know, everybody have his own something that you have to. You understand? But I was lucky to be footballer. But it's not even lucky. I pushed myself because I wanted to. You understand? Even though my father was a headmaster, and he doesn't want me to even play football at that time. You know. Because he just want me to focus on my education, you know. But I also let him know that this is something that I want to do. You know, sometimes even if I go to training, when I come, there will be no food for me. Also, he will bash me, you understand, like punish me as well. But at the end of the day, I proved to him that I want to play football. And at the point in time, he saw that, oh, okay, he want to, so we should give him a chance, so yeah.
When you say sometimes you would come home and there's no food, or was it some kind of punishment, or it was just that there was no money at home to provide food on the table? Because if your father is a headmaster, definitely you came from a very good background.
Yeah, it's not about there's no money. It's all about they don't want me to play football. You understand?
So that was your punishment?
Yeah, so they will do something to frustrate you. You will never even go play football. But even that also motivates me a lot. Sometimes when I come, I don't have food. I say, okay, let me push myself, you know. So yeah, it was not easy. Me, myself, that I said I want to play football, so yeah.
But who was that person that you were looking up to, that you were so motivated and very interested in pushing to play football?
At the point in time, when I went to Winneba, I used to see big players that we all watch on TV, like Stephen Appiah, Samuel Osei-Kuffour, Derek Boateng, John Penty, John Mensah, you know, Matthew Amwa, these big players that we all watch on TV.
Yeah.
And they used to come to the Winneba, you know, for preparation. So this is the kind of players that I said to myself, one day I want to be like them, you know, because I also go to them for advice, and I used to also wash their clothes. I clean their football shoes as well.
Wow.
So yeah, anytime they come to Ghana, they normally come to Winneba. So this is something that when I see them also motivates me more, that whether I like it or not, I want to be a professional one day.
Based on the punishment that you suffered from your family, how was it like anytime you got back? And that was after you were able to break through to play for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. I'll come to the Kotoko story in a bit. But if they see you on television, how was it like?
They are so excited, you know. And everything that I told them, they saw that, okay, he's different. He has different mindset, different mentality, and he's hardworking. son that we have. You know, they feel proud to see me on TV.
At what point did you move to Kotoko?
When I was in, I think I was in Winneba at that time, and I went 6 months loan with Sekendi Azakes.
Okay.
And we played against them in Sunyane, if I'm not wrong, I think 2007, 2008. And I played very well. You know, I think we beat them in that game. And,
okay.
And after the game, Sylvester, now he's a Bantamahene.
Yeah, Bantamahene.
Now at the moment.
Sylvester, sorry.
Yeah. So he sent somebody to come and pick me from Sekendi. They started talking to me, and Bashir Reford also started talking to me that I want you to come and help the team. At a point in time, I saw myself that, oh, okay, I'm going to Kotoko. Yeah. You understand? And Kotoko, that, I mean, everybody know that it's a traditional team. It's a team that people worship. It's a team that a lot of Ghanaians love. You understand? So when I went there, I was a little bit shaken though, because when I went there, at that time they were talking about how Aziz Ansah would stay. You know, so
one of the best right backs we had in the country.
Yeah, in Ghana Premier League.
Yeah.
So, and I said to myself that let me have patience, because at the end of the day, if they finish talking to him, then I'm going to be a second choice of him. You understand? Because I respect him so much. So when I heard that he doesn't want to stay anymore, so I went there. I didn't go there as right back though. Even that game, I played as a midfielder at that game. And there was a time Bashir Reford called me. Bashir Reford is how to say, it's a father to me. Yeah. You know, before not even him going to Asante Kotoko, whenever he come to Winnebas for coaching course, we have to, sometimes we play the friendly games and stuff, and he see me, call me, you have big potential, keep working hard, and whenever I have a team, I will help you. I will give you the platform. So for me to also come, for him to also understand, he know the kind of person I am, for him to also give me that platform in Asante Kotoko was very huge though. You know, even though when we went there, the fans was not, you know, they didn't have so much confidence in us. Yeah. But football is all about how you take your chances, you know. So when they gave us the platform, we just make good use of it.
I will need to understand something, and that has to do with many people say there's lots of pressure playing for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Was that pressure playing for Kotoko?
There's a lot of pressure in the team itself, because the fans demand a lot. As soon as you sign Asante Kotoko, you're supposed to know that you have a big task ahead of you, because these fans, they don't have patience. All they know is that the team have to win. So you as a player, you have a lot of headache. That's one. What to do to make them happy, what to do to play a big impact for the team to win as well. So that is why it's not about pressure that you, the player, you feel the pressure, you cannot play. That is not mine. Mine is that how to make them happy, how to make the team successful.
Yeah. So was it at Kotoko that you became a right back, or what happened? Or even at Hazakes you were playing as a right back?
Yeah, sometimes Hazakes I play center back, sometimes I play right back, sometimes I play also defensive midfield as well. But when I came to Kotoko, I think it got to a point in time, I think they separate the team too. One went to Germany, one went to Sudan, if you can remember at that time. So those who went, I'm part of the Germany group. Those who went to the Germany group, we played against Sudanese, the group. Those who went to Sudan. So I played as right back. And I remember Niger also played as also right back. Oh, okay. So sometimes
Daniel Niger?
Daniel Niger.
Oh, wow.
He put Niger sometimes. Anytime he put Niger, I will go to right wing. You know, and sometimes I will also come to the midfield.
The Niger too, was that versatile?
Yeah, Niger can play a lot of positions. You know? Wow. Yeah. And he's a hard-working guy. Yeah. I like him so much, you know. You know, when you are in a team that you have a competition, if he lets you as a player to do extra. You don't sleep, because the moment you sleep, somebody will come and take your position. So yeah, in our time there was a lot of competition in the team. A lot. Because you have Harrison Afo, you have Jordan Apoku, you have Bequin, you have Fancy Akwafo, you have Meno, you have Kojo Poku Mahala, you know, bunch of them. Bunch of them, yeah.
So that really helped in growing you, right?
Yeah, that pushed me a lot to do extra.
But let's come back to the right back. At what point did you finally become a player who was now playing either a right back or a right winger instead of playing as a centre back?
I think I was selected to go to under U17.
Okay.
And I'm playing centre back. And the likes of players that we went there, you have Jonathan Korte.
Yeah.
He's very tall. You have Jerry coming.
So your height was a factor.
Yes, yes. Let me put it that way. That's a big factor because at a point in time, also Duncan was also very smart. Coach Duncan was also very smart to the extent that he said to me that I would like you to play right back. At the first time when he was telling me, I was not, you know.
You were not happy?
Yeah, I was not happy though. But because I was in Winneba, I played a lot of positions.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't allow you to play one position.
One position.
Some games you play maybe striking, you'll be a striker. Some games you'll be right wing, you understand? They always change it for the players, for us to develop very well. So when he told me that I have to play right back, I was preferring my favorite position, but yes, nothing pushed me. I said to him, okay. So one friendly game, he put me there, and I played very good. And he said to me that from now on, you are going to play right back. And at that time, our captain was Emmanuel Anson.
Oh, okay.
He was at the Olympics at that time. He was the captain also. Very good player, very player that I respect so much.
So it was David Duncan who made you a right back?
Yes, David Duncan.
David Duncan. Oh, wow. That's quite an interesting one. But during your days at Kotoko, and in fact, let's just still stay around Kotoko a bit, talk about Kotoko before you moved out of the shores of the country. Talk to us pretty quick on the Kotoko you see today and the Kotoko that you were part of.
There's a big difference now. There's a huge difference. Let me put it this way. I'm not saying that current Kotoko are not good players or they are not doing things that are not good. But in our time in Kotoko, nobody would tell every fan would love to come and watch us because we were giving them what they want. We were giving them good football. The players fight for the team. You know, that is something that the fans need. You know, the fans want players that who can be there for the team. And also make us happy as well, you know. Sometimes it's not about winning. They want to see good football. You know, at a point in time, the fans, they sleep even when we are playing football because they know at the end of the day we are going to deliver. You understand what I mean? So, yeah, it was very good in my days in Kotoko. But now, I'm not saying that they are not good, but there's certain things that they have to also work on it because now, nobody's even watching games, their football matches, because I think that they also have to improve in their game, you know, because when you improve your gameplay, I think every fan will love to come and watch because they want to see good football and they will be so excited watching their own team. So I think they have to do extra, they have to do more, they have to make the fans happy.
But when you came back, why didn't you go there? But you rather went to House of Folk. Since you know that Kotoko, it's a team. It's like your blood. Why didn't you go there?
This question, I've been answering this question so many
You have to answer it.
Yes. I think when I was coming to Ghana, I said I want to play Ghana football, you know. And I was being professional because I said to myself that it's the same league that who gave me the platform. So for me to come back and come and play the same league, I would not be something that I feel shy to come and play the league that gave me the platform. So I came. It was Kotoko who sent me an offer, official offer from Kotoko, from Nane Wamponsa, which was the CEO. So I told him that okay, that's fine. So I came. We were talking about it back and forth in terms of money and a lot of issues as well. So when I came, I tried to call him. And he said to me that, the first time I called him, he said to me that he's in the meeting at the moment. He will call me back. So he called me back and he said he will get back to me. Okay, so it went to a point that the board, even the board members, want to see if I really want to play. You know, so I met a couple of them. We sat down, we discussed, and I told him that if you guys thinking maybe there's no money, I would love to play for free. But at the end of the day, they said, the coach said, he's already having
his team.
His team. He has like 4 players in my position. You understand? So it tells me that when I come, I'll be 5.
Fifth choice.
Yeah, 5th choice. So then I even told them that at the end of the day, whoever will train good will play. But they also let me know that the coach is okay with the right back he has, and which I respect him for that decision, because it doesn't mean that you are a legend, so you can just do what you shouldn't do. You have to respect him as a coach. You have to also understand his game plan. He said this kind of players that he has is good for him. And at the end of the day, I think he finished the season and he won the league, and which I respect him so much for that. But the fans was not, the fans couldn't understand
what happened behind the scenes.
What happened behind the scene, because they wanted me to be in the team at all costs. So this is what happened. I cannot just say, I'm Samuel Inkoom, so I'm just, I want to, how to say, I don't want to obey the instructions that me and you know that football, the certain regulations are in football. So yes.
So what were, in fact, we had stories that came out claiming that you said the CEO feels so big to call you, but what you're telling me is quite different from that.
Yeah. You know, the moment this Kotoko deal didn't happen, there was a lot of rumor. There was a big tension, even on me. The fans were insulting me. They were giving me, they were bashing me back and front. I'm ungrateful. I'm that. I decided that I would never talk. You understand? Because I don't want also big tension in the team as well. I just want the playing body also have a good mind to also focus on the league itself. So yeah, there was a whole lot, you know, but even it got to a point, some people are saying that I said I need $10,000 and they said they don't have $10,000, so that is why the deal couldn't happen. But it was not like that, you know, so I don't want to talk too much about this.
Yeah, but did you say the CEO feels too big to call you? Did you say that anywhere?
I don't remember. I think I said something that I called him and he said he would call me back. You understand? And I started calling him. There was no answering phones. That is why I got to know that maybe there's something happening. You understand? So when the board members also tried to invite me, I went there. I was there. They called the CEO in front of me, and they were talking to him that Inkoom is in front of us. We would love him to be in the team. What is the problem? What is happening? And I think he said something that I heard it. He said something that they should talk to the coach. This is what he said. They should talk to the coach. So it means like he has played his part. You understand? I know there was a whole lot, brother.
Not to stretch this conversation, but just this moment, just some few minutes ago, a couple of minutes, you mentioned that the CEO called you back. So I'm struggling to put 1 and 2 together. If the CEO called you back, where from there, like you're trying to him and he's supposed to call you back, and where from all this? I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying, that it got to a stand that a lot of stories came up. A lot of them.
So in essence, some of the stories were false.
Yes, I'll put it that way. Some of the stories, for me, it was not something that I said it. You understand? So, but at the end of the day.
Did you feel disrespected by some of those reactions? Having given your all to Kotoko before.
I said to myself that, okay, my last club before I traveled was Kotoko.
Yeah.
And I wanted to come and play, and this stuff is happening. it got to a point that I was feeling like, okay, maybe I don't deserve to be there. And also I feel like, okay, whatever I did for them, maybe they don't appreciate it. But I got to know that it's not the same people that when I was there, I'm talking about the management.
Yeah.
They were not there. They were not there at this time. So I don't feel like I have to be like I'm disappointed. I wanted to play, but it didn't happen. And this is football. Football is like that, you know. If you want to go somewhere and they don't feel like you have to be there, you have to find somewhere else, which they will appreciate you, they will cherish you as well. So I didn't feel down at all, but I just said to myself that I have to move on.
In essence, it was the coach who did not allow you to come to Kotoko.
They said, I met him one time, but we didn't even talk about this, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to say it was the coach. I don't want to also blame it was the CEO, management. You know, the management. That is why I want to make it in general that if it's supposed to happen, it was going to happen, but it didn't happen. So yeah.
And then you chose the arrivals, House of Hope.
And I went to House of Hope.
How did it go?
I spoke to Sule Mutari, and I told him that I want to come and train, you know, and it's okay. Why not? So let him speak to the coach, and after he will let me, you know, the time that they will start training. So I went to the training, and I started training, and some of the fans started, you know. I couldn't understand how they were so, how to say, I feel at home, you know. They want me to play for the team, you know. They receive me very nice, they welcome me, something that I didn't expect it, you know. So I said, okay, then let me play for them.
And you played for them?
And I played for them. Even before I went to the first training, I spoke to Safu Jemfi, which is Kotoko.
Oh, okay.
So he was trying to say, oh, wait a little bit, let me speak to them, let me speak to the coach, let me speak to...
okay, he was still trying to speak to Kotoko, so he could come there instead, yeah.
But I told him that, listen, at the end of the day, if they want me to be there, it will happen. So even me telling him I'm going for training, it was a big issue. But I told him that I respect you so much. You are a legend, and you are somebody that, when I was in Kotoko, he's somebody that I respect so much. And I told him that at the point in time, I have to move on. So when I started training with House of Folk, I feel like, oh, wow, they want me to be there. You know, they want me to be the part of the family, the Phobian family. So I was so excited to be there.
Did you play for House of Folk for free?
In my opinion, I would say something like that, in my opinion, because if I want to talk about in terms of money, you understand, where I've got my level into, and coming to play for House of Folk. House of Folk is a huge club. It's one of the best traditional team in Ghana, in Africa. Everybody know, well known. And I count myself lucky to be in that team as well. But I'm not playing for free. You know, everybody have to be, when you work, you have to be paid, you know. So yeah, I'm not. They
paid you something, but not.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. And everything. Even if it is 1 cedi, it's still a salary.
Yes, it's salary. That's why I appreciate it. You know.
But in your period at House of Oak, there were many difficulties on the field, off the field. I remember some time you had even a go at some of your colleagues, telling them if they're not willing to play, they should move on. Why are you getting frustrated?
No, you know, sometimes the young players that we have, they are very good players. We have good potential players in Ghana. And sometimes some of them doesn't know what they have. So some of us have to also be on them, you know, push them harder to let them know that, hey, you have something that maybe you don't think that you have something, you know. So I'm telling you that you have to, this is the kind of, you want to go to Europe, but it's step by step. If you don't play very well, who will see you in Europe? Nobody can see you. Play the team very well. Let the team feel that, okay, you came and you have done something, so that when you also have contract, the way will be very smooth for you to go.
And they will let you go.
They will let you go. So this is some of the things that sometimes I will even call meeting, organize a meeting, call all the players, and you know, even at the point in time, one of our games, I seize all of them phones, you know, for them to stay focused. You understand? Because yes, phones are good, but when you have the job that gives you food, you have to respect that job. 20 minutes for the game to start and you're on your phone, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't tell you that you are a professional. Respect the kind of job that you do, and the God will give you the rest. So that is why sometimes I'm more like a coach, but I was not a coach. I want to be on them, you know? And the boys also respect me also. They like me so much because I always encourage them. I always let them know that, hey, you have something that you have to appreciate it. You have something that you have to do extra. You push yourself, you know. So this is sometimes that you go to a point that more like a coach or maybe a team manager or something like that.
What was the major challenge at House of Folk?
I think it's got to a point that the board chairman is of His Royal Highness Dapaah Fede, his board and the management. To be honest, they were doing everything for the team. We went there several times, meetings for the board chairman to talk to us, to motivate us, you know, to let us know that this is the job that you do. You have not learned any job apart from football. So whenever you have chance to play on the pitch, you have to give everything. And the board chairman was saying, we have to be ambitious. You have to have the ambition that we want to do something. So, but sometimes I got to know that the fault is not from them. The fault is from the playing body. So that is why I begin to go harder on some of the players, try to enter their mind to push them to do extra.
What was the fault from the playing body?
You know, like, okay, we are House of Folk, like playing against, let's say, RTU, playing against, let's say, Gold Stars, playing against, let's say, Accra Lions, or maybe Dream FC, we are going to win. You know, we just take it that we will win. And by the time we just being ourselves, we are down. You understand? So the mindset itself was very down. You know, we take everything like, okay, normal, we win, we are Accra House of Folk. But now football doesn't work like that. Any team that who is ready to play against Accra House of Folk, the team will do extra to beat. He want to be in your shoes. He also want to play in House of Folk. So that is some of the things that we were facing. We were facing a lot of challenges, like complacency is killing us, you understand? But we have good team. We have very good group that I saw that, why not? We can even go to Africa to make even big impact. But football, if you don't prepare your mind, if you don't do extra training, if you don't stay focused, I don't think you can get the result that you need.
Has your contract with House of Folk expired?
No, my contract will finish this month, 31st.
Oh, then it's expired?
Yes, almost.
Almost expired. Because before the new season starts, your contract will expire. Exactly. Will you renew? Are there discussions to renew?
At the moment, I have contract, so I don't talk about my contract, you know. Even though I know the contract is supposed to finish this month, but I have certain things in my contract that unless the contract finishes before, I will start talk about new contract.
So the contract is like that until it expires. You cannot discuss renewal.
Otherwise, I will breach the contract, and I don't want to. I respect this team.
But I know you have other ambitions. Yeah. So it means what it means is that if you have to chase those ambitions, you're definitely not going to be renewing your contract.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to talk so much about this, but I have ambition. That ambition is that I also want to, after retire, I want to give the young ones. I want to help them to develop very well, because that's why I want to go into sports management. You know, to try to bring the talent, to scout the young talent as well, because you know we have it, but they need a good platform to also showcase themselves, because. The problem we are having, we don't have too much facilities for our young players to develop. That is why every time wherever I am, wherever I go to, I mention Dapaah Fede His Royal Highness. Look at what he has done in Pobi Mine. This is the facilities that we need for the young players to develop. You know, we need this kind of facilities. So I respect him so much. He's a great king, and he's a good friend of mine. And this is what I want to do to help the young ones. I also want to help them to develop very well.
So are you thinking of putting up, say, infrastructure or something?
Yes, because I have also a lot of links outside, and they love Ghanaian players. They love Ghanaian players so much. So a lot of them come to me, I want this player, what do you think, what do you want, you understand? So this is kind of thing that I want to also use it to help them.
But when do you intend to retire so that you can switch to that area?
Any moment from now.
As it means that if your contract expires, you are retired?
Any moment from now.
So you've not retired yet?
Yes, not yet.
You've not retired yet?
Not yet.
But if you're not retired, I'm not sure you can be an active footballer and still be into management.
And that is why I'm saying that, you know, I don't think it will keep long, you understand? I don't want to wait when I retire before I started going to sports management. It doesn't work. I have already started, you understand? But this season, because my contract is still active, I don't want to talk too much. Maybe after the season, or maybe after the contract, maybe
I'll you now fully go into the sports management and do away with the football. But as we speak, Samuel Inkoom has not retired.
Yeah, I've not retired.
Okay. If you just joined us, we are speaking to Samuel Inkoom, Hasselhoff player currently, and the former player of Marcia Santiago, the former player of the Black Stars, and the former player of FC Basel. We are not going to, in fact, under 20 World Cup winner, under 20 African Cup of Nations winner, and played at the FIFA World Cup with the Black Stars during the 2010 FIFA World Cup. We've been talking about his journey in Ghana. I want to switch the conversation up a bit. At what point, Samuel, did you get that call to move to Europe? Which club in Europe was your first club when you were living in Qatar?
FC Basel.
Okay.
FC Basel. They approached me. I think they sent one of their coaches to Ghana.
Oh, okay.
At that time, we were playing against one team in Kumasi. So they came. They watched the game. After the game, they want to meet me to talk about
potential move.
Yes, they want to let me know because of me that they are there. You know, so I met them in one hotel. I think it's a sports hotel close to the stadium.
Oh, okay.
And they started talking to me about, hey, we want to take you to FC Basel. This is the offer. This is the money. And I said, I'm not the right person to talk about money. So maybe allow me to give you to the management, one of the management, to you guys to start talking about how much they want, and then after we'll know what to do. So I gave the management contact to them. They sent offer to them. They started discussing it. Because we were having African, you know, we qualified to play. So it was a little bit difficult for me to go. So I have to go to the CEO, Sylvester, to beg him, to talk to him that please let me go. I've waited for this for a very long time. Because I said to myself that I don't want to go for trials. That doesn't mean players who go to trials are no good. But this is what I said to myself. So now that I have the straight deal, allow me to go. And they said the money was too small. I got to know.
How much was it?
I got to know the money was not too small. I think it was, if I'm not wrong, I think it was $1 million that we were talking about.
Wow, about $1 million?
Yeah.
Top of the morning to you. A very good morning, and thank you for joining me. My name is Benjamin Akakwe. If you've never caught this segment, I don't know which part of the country you're from, but thank you for joining us. And spread the word. Benjamin Akakwe is about to share his blunt thoughts. Today, I'm going to be speaking of elite criminals and the impoverishment of the masses. The saga continues. of elite criminals and the impoverishment of the masses, those who have the nokofio. The saga continues. Yeti sikaso, nanso akomode yen. Yeti sikaso, nanso akomode yen. Yeti sikaso, yeti sikaso. Yeti sikaso, nanso akom de yen. Akom fita pa na edi nipa okro mu. Poverty, grinding poverty, is what has become the bathing water of many in this country. Yesterday, I found myself in a barbershop and some other place I don't want to mention. And I was just overhearing the conversation of the barbers and other people. And it made me sad. Really sad, crushed, broken. Because of the sentiments they were sharing. And how despondent they felt, hopeless, helpless, in the grips of our misleadership. Then from there, I had to go and see someone. So I went through the Abelinkpe area, close to where Auntie Cici's place is. And there's a certain stretch opposite the fire service. Pass there one of these days, around noon or before. Look at the many people who throng that place. Do you know what they are all looking for? Travel opportunities, visas. There's this tourist agency right there where Barcelos used to be. All of them want to leave the country. I saw it again yesterday. It's not the first time I'm speaking about it, but I saw it yesterday again, and my heart bled. Young people. I even saw a pregnant woman. All these people just trying to get out of our country. And I wonder whether our misleaders ask themselves, why? But why will they ask? Because Yetisikaso is a few people sitting on huge sums of money and the masses wallowing in abject poverty. So let me just let you know. If you're not aware, and this data I'm about to give is from the World Bank, it's not from me. Ghana currently has the highest food inflation in sub-Saharan Africa. Record. Highest. So from January the 1st, 2022, January the 1st, 2022, till now, food inflation in Ghana has gone up by 122%. 122%. So if you were buying something at 100 Ghana cedis, what it means is that you will now buy it at 222 Ghana cedis. That's what it means. 100 to 222. Why? What crime have we committed? Well, let me come back to the slides now and walk you through some of the recent happenings, including Cecilia Dapaah and the Bank of Ghana. And you form your own convictions. Read between the lines. Yetisikaso. And so confita nadien. So here is the tale of the tape. And some people would wish we didn't have to talk about some of these. We'll keep talking about it. As far as journalism is concerned and the lengths to which we shall speak about it, we shall speak about it. No more will these things be covered up and pushed under. What are we asking for? Accountability. Proof funds. That is all we're asking. So why the concern? Why all the hue and cry? Now, let's just walk through one more time what Cecilia Dapaah, and now I hear there's some acceptance about the cash and ownership and all of that. She lost a cash sum, $1 million. A cash sum, 300,000 euros, $331,000 if you look at the equivalent. Cash sum, 350,000 cedis, the equivalent of about $35,000. The total there, $1.4 million. Next slide. Then, wares stolen. So 6 pieces of kente cloth, valued at 90,000 cedis, the equivalent of about $9,000. 6 sets of men's suits, $3,000, $3,000. Clothes, other clothes, 95,000 cedis, about $9.5K. handbags, $35K, assorted perfumes, $1,400, and then jewelry, about $95,000. There you have the total, $153,000. Next slide. Now, if you look at the bank details, and the devil is in the bank details, the devil is there. So, dollar transactions over a period, $5 million. Keep that in mind. The CD account, 48 million Ghana cedis, $4.8 million equivalent. Investments, 1 million Ghana cedis, $100,000 equivalent. Cash in the bank, 700,000 Ghana cedis, $70,000 equivalent. Now, if you sum it up, that's the total you get there. $9.97 million. If you round it off, and if you do the tallying, I'm sure you know the sum in the region of which we are looking. If you do the multiplication in Ghana cedis. So then, you look at the amount retrieved from her home, $590,000, and then the CD equivalent, that is the next sum, 2.73 million Ghana cedis. The dollar equivalent, $273,000. Next slide. And that is the tail of the tape. Assorted cloth, suits, so the kente cloth, suits, assorted clothes, handbags, perfume, jewelry. That's the total, $153,000. Next slide. So before we get into the Bank of Ghana, so you do the math. Even take out this bit, the $9.97 million. How much is that? You tell me. 99.97 million Ghana cedis. Rounded off to 100 million Ghana cedis. 100 million Ghana cedis. Just take time to reflect on that. Let's do some. Is it Tai Chi or yoga? Anyway, that is it. Let's move on now. And also take a look at the Bank of Ghana. It has incurred a significant loss in 2022. I don't remember the last time the Bank of Ghana, the central bank, in this Fourth Republic recorded a loss like this. But then again, this is the first time we're having a debt exchange program. So let's grant them that. 60.8 billion from the Bank of Ghana's own report. Next slide. And part of the breakdown, 32.3 billion Ghana cedis in non-marketable instruments, 16.1 billion in marketable instruments, 4.7 billion Ghana cedis, COCOBOT, 5.2 billion price and exchange rate valuation, interest expenses on cost of monetary policy, 3.3 billion Ghana cedis, 60.8 billion cedis. Pay. Next slide. But then we look at some minutiae of the spending. Let's take out what was, accrued on the back of the debt exchange. That's not to say we're overlooking it, but let's even take that out and focus on internal business. The Bank of Ghana spent 131.6 million Ghana cedis on what? Motor vehicle maintenance and running in 2022 alone. Now, how much of an increment was that year on year? 114% of an increment. Foreign and domestic travel of Bank of Ghana cost the Ghanaian taxpayer 97.4 million Ghana cedis. In this instance, from 2021 to 2022, year on year, an increment of 246%. The Bank of Ghana also spent another 8.6 million on directors' remuneration. We'll get to that shortly. Remuneration for directors, 8.6 million Ghana cedis. This represents about an 87% increment over the previous year's expenditure. The Bank of Ghana has come out trying to explain, but for me, the explanation is still not explicable. Some of the stuff in there, you're proposing a program to the IMF for support. You are in dire straits. You say COVID-19 and the Russo-Ukrainian war have battered your economy. So you've been crushed to the ground. And this is the way we spend? And to boot, we want to put up a $250 million headquarters. I'm not saying these things are irrelevant, but I'm saying, is this the kind of spending you spend when you are on the ropes? Then if we were healthy, I don't know how we would spend our money. Next slide. The Bank of Ghana spent as well $357.9 million on banking supervision expenses. Banking supervision. Then other, and this is undisclosed, other expenses, $287.8 million of the taxpayers' money. I would really like to know full details of what went into this $287.8 million. I would like to know, and I'm sure you would too, won't you? Wouldn't you? It decided to invest $250 million, like I said, the equivalent of 2.8 billion Ghana cedis, on another headquarters. I don't know whether there's going to be some sort of earthquake soon that will, because they say it's not earthquake proof and all of that. I don't have a problem with a new facility, but at what cost? That's my only problem. At what cost? Their safety is our concern too, but at what cost? Can we bleed $250 million around this time? Next slide. Then, the budget for 2022 failed to address fiscal concerns. The budget was more expansionary, the bank says, by about 23% with a raft of revenue measures to raise financing. This led to credit rating agencies downgrading Ghana's sovereign debt rating, and it blocked Ghana's access to international capital market borrowing. You would have wanted to borrow more, huh? Next slide. The minority has called for the resignation of the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Professor Lord Mensah of the University of Ghana has backed the minority's call for the resignation of the governor of the Bank of Ghana and his deputies. And Professor Bokpin, Godfred Bokpin, also of the University of Ghana, has backed the calls for the governor's resignation. Both of them, Professor Lord Mensah, Professor Godfred Bokpin, all of them saying, indeed, we give our backing to it. I don't know whether that will solve the problem, from where I sit. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I think we ought to get things right. And I've also considered whether, if you move them out, they have some institutional memory. They've been there for a while. If they've created problems, maybe they should be allowed to be there to resolve the problems. But whether they will resolve it, especially with the political nature of the appointments to the central bank, that is my concern. So I may not, I'm somewhere in between, resign or don't resign. I'm somewhere in between, in the middle. But how long can we go on this? How long? Next slide. Then the final slide. Dwight Simmons posts, and I will not mention names intentionally, but if you can see the pictures, maybe you can deduce, read it in between the lines. When we talk about the directors at the Bank of Ghana, on whom the over 8 million Ghana cedis was spent, this is what Dwight Simmons says. And we spoke to him to confirm, by the way, before coming up with this. The Bank of Ghana has 10 independent directors. It seems some people, especially in the political opposition, are not happy that they are paid $8,000 a month, the equivalent of 86,000 Ghana cedis. Given the caliber of people needed to helm a central bank board, what would folks be comfortable with? These are the people. Like I said, I'll not mention names. But are you comfortable with $8,000 for them every month in the midst of where we are? Or are you comfortable with something less? Now, these, mind you, are all professionals. They are all professionals, people with varying degrees of work experience and all of that. Like I said, intentionally, I don't want to mention names. But these are all professionals. No one has taken that away from them. Some of the people here I know personally. Some of them I could even call friend. But I'm saying, is it justified in the midst of where we are? In good times, there is a way you act. And in bad times, like we find ourselves, there's a way you act. Therefore, this is the state of the nation. It is obvious that the state of the nation for some people, the elite, the political class, is very different from the state of the nation for you and for me. For how long will this continue? For how long? I leave you to reflect on it. That's what I do. I lay the foundation and leave you thinking. Let your brain tick. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts that I've shared with you. Raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. As always, I end. God richly bless Ghana and make her great and strong. That is my prayer, and it should be your prayer too. Since that military putsch somewhere getting to the end of last month, it has been a lot of a flip-flop, swinging in between when it comes to the situation in Niger, another African country in the sub-region that has fallen to a coup d'etat. The military cited bad governance, corruption, and a failure to deal with the economic situation in the country, among others, as the reasons for taking over. Ecowas, time and again, have threatened that they would not stand for this. In fact, the threat of military action was palpable. A deadline was set that was not met. And the junta in Niger has so far rebuffed all the advances of Ecowas, including a former Nigerian president and a sultan. Strangely, though, an emir, a sort of pariah, has been able to meet with them. The Ecowas is still considering the Marshall option to invade Niger and restore democracy. The question is, where do we go from here? Will that military deployment work? What should we expect in the coming days? Will the putschists meet the Ecowas team finally? And what are going to be the implications for any military intervention in Niger? Well, this morning, we have joining the conversation Dr. Victor Doke. He's a lecturer at the KAIPTC, that's the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. James Agalga is ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. We have Chukwuemeka Eze, Executive Director of WANEP, and also Austin Alugbe, a Global Affairs Analyst, who actually finds himself in Niger at the moment. Well, he's been in Niger and he currently finds himself in the Gambia. But before we get into an interaction with them, I'd just like to say a very good morning to all the guests and then come to you with a short video. For those of the guests who have been able to join us, a very good morning to you.
You, sir.
Who am I hearing? Is that Victor?
Yes.
Okay. Victor, thank you for joining. We also have Austin Alugbe on Zoom, Global Affairs Analyst. Hello, Austin. Hello, Austin. Can you hear me,
Hello.
Austin?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Thank you for making the time to join us.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. We also have James Agalga, Member of Parliament on the Defense and Interior Committee. A very good morning to you, Mr. Agalga.
Good morning.
All right. And also joining the conversation, Chukwuemeka. I just want to hear you to confirm that I have you. Chukwuemeka Eze.
Yes, you do. Good morning.
All right. Thank you very much. Chukwuemeka Eze from WANEP. Gentlemen, right before we get into the thick of things, just watch this video. I'm sure some of you have seen it. After the military junta let go of former President Mohamed Bazoum, former Nigerian president, and this was what the scene looked like after he had supposedly, purportedly resigned. Watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the scenes there. Interesting. If you look at Mohamed Bazoum's deportment from a few weeks ago and you look at him now, he appears to be a shell of himself. Interesting scenes. Interesting scenes. But let's get into the conversation now with our guests. And I'll start with you, Victor, on this beat. What do you make of all that has happened in recent times? I mean, I'm just going to take about a minute of submissions from each one of you. Just encapsulate your ideas. From the day of the military action, where we suspected there had been a coup, to the preceding days when we found out that indeed this is what had happened, till now that the purported resignation has been delivered by Mohamed Bazoum. He's been allowed to leave, and Ecowas is threatening military action. Succinct thoughts, Victor.
Thank you very much. Well, what I make of it since the takeover, very unfortunate incidents for the junta to take that action. Now, it's sort of becoming like a norm because we've already had Mali and Burkina Faso. ECOWAS implemented sanctions. It didn't bite enough. They lifted them. Why did they lift them? We don't know. Now, the other issue is they expect these two states, that's Mali and Burkina, to transition into democratic practices. We don't know if that's going to happen yet. We hope so. Now, concerning Niger, the takeover, the processes, the defiant position by the junta not to meet emissaries in the first place has worsened the situation, thereby ECOWAS implementing more sanctions, which they have recognized that it's biting, hence appointed 21 ministers by their own mandate to represent them, to become their mouthpiece. So for this junta, it tells us clearly they would not want to meet ECOWAS or emissaries that have been sent, with the exception of that emir, just because probably they are ethnic lines or they are brothers, if I should say so, because they had to meet them. So that tells us the complexity of the case. If ECOWAS should move in now with a standby force, are we going to have some ethnic groups from the northern part of Nigeria joining in to fight against ECOWAS? Are we going to have armed groups who are going to join in and fight on behalf of the junta? These are questions and areas ECOWAS should look at. Now, the economy is crippled. Already, we all know that Niger is one of the poorest states. It's becoming even worse. Now, the earlier the junta avails itself on the negotiation table and look at the way forward, the better. For the release and resignation of Bazoum, well, some of us always knew that it was come to this because Bazoum was out of the picture immediately the takeover happened. And they wouldn't want to see Bazoum or even hear ECOWAS or international partners wanting to install Bazoum again. If they want to go the democratic practices, then it's going to be in their terms with their own people. Hence, they have started with 21 ministers. On the part of ECOWAS, wanting to go in, a lot of questions. Do they have the capacity as of now, the personnel, the funds, the logistics? They've activated the ESF. Okay. How long will it take if they should decide to go in? Are there more sanctions coming in? We would think that it's going to be a zero-sum game for either ECOWAS or the Nigerian junta. So for now, I would propose that there will be more preventive diplomacy. They should try, negotiate with these 21 ministers, and by so doing, they may get to the junta themselves. And then we hope the junta will come to the negotiating table and then present their needs and interests, and then we'll see the way forward. But a military intervention will spell a lot of chaos. The humanitarian crisis that is going to come up is going to be severe. And we, Ghana, are not left out because we'll be part of it. So I think preventive diplomacy in this way is going to be the best option. Already the sanctions are biting. So if they should maintain the sanctions, then the junta will be forced to come out and negotiate.
All right. Victor, thank you for those initial comments. Please, let's try to stick as much as possible within the 1 minute period so that we can exhaust everything we want to discuss on the show this morning. Austin Alugbe, you are a global affairs analyst. You've been in Niger recently. You now find yourself in the Gambia. Tell me, what is your take? I'll come back to what you saw in Niger. You can give us a sneak peek, but what do you make of everything that is happening?
Well, just to quickly, first of all, thank you for having me. Just to quickly note, the video you showed, I'm not too sure if that video is real because of the commentaries that are coming out. Yesterday, the Ecowas stated the release of the detained president. We are not too sure of that video. It may actually look like an old video, but I don't know. But it's good to fact check.
Which we did too, and that is why we said purported.
Okay, very good. So that people don't take it out as if it's been released. All right, thanks. So for what I made entirety is that the West African region is gradually snowballing into a military situation, military taking over. This is the fourth, and there's a likelihood that there will be more because of the democratic challenges. Democracy is not now able to deliver the so-called democratic dividends to the people. And when you see military taking over and there's an excitement from citizens, it sends a very strong and wrong perception. Look at what happened in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in the Gambia, and in Guinea. And now the same thing has happened in Niger, where people would troop out in the street and literally want to singing a song of the military junta. And even, maybe like you said, we'll talk about how flags were burnt and there's a clear support of a direction. It means that by the time if we get to what ECOWAS wants to do, which is the ECOWAS of the people, then this is the people that are talking. It means that the people are taking a direction. It means that the people are supporting some form of militarization in their country. And it's a worrying dimension.
Thank you, Dr. Dapaah, for those initial comments. And Austin, I beg of you, my apologies, it's Austin Egbe. Thank you for sharing those thoughts. Let me now hear from James Agalaga. You're on the Parliamentary Committee for Defense and the Interior. Looking at what has happened so far and the reaction from ECOWAS, what are your takeaways briefly?
Oh, well, to start with, we have a very serious problem with the processes that led to ECOWAS coming out with its ultimatum to the military regime in Niger. And our president clearly played a lead role because remember that he is the immediate past former ECOWAS chairman and must have actually played a very critical role in arriving at the decision to take military action against the military junta in Niger. Now, prior to partaking in that particular decision, which sparked a lot of furore, I mean, in the entire West African sub-region with a number of countries, such as Burkina Faso, Mali, and even Guinea, rallying to the support of Niger in the event of any military coup. And Algeria, even though Algeria is not part of ECOWAS, they also came out with a very strong statement, which sort of gave support to the military regime in Niger. Now, the problem here is Parliament, the Committee for Defense and Interior, for that matter, expected that before reaching those decisions, the People's Assembly would have been given an opportunity to thoroughly debate the matter and present the Ghanaian perspective of whatever is happening in Niger prior to making such an important commitment to commit troops to Niger to bring an end to the coup. That never happened. Now this is happening against the backdrop of what happened much earlier when Ghana committed troops to the Gambia to deal with Yahya Jammeh when he refused to step down after losing to Adama Barrow. Parliament had made a strong statement that henceforth we would not accept the situation whereby Ghana commits its troops to any foreign military intervention without Parliament's prior approval. It's a no, no, no. It appears we haven't learned lessons at all. And so this whole thing came to us as a big surprise when our president defied Parliament and went ahead and actually took part in issuing threats and ultimatum to the Sovereign Republic of Niger. Whatever happened in Niger, whether ECOWAS has a zero tolerance for coups or not, is an internal matter and should have been treated as such. In any case, why is ECOWAS displaying double standards at this point in time when Burkina Faso experienced multiple coups? Christian Kabore was overthrown by the military in that country, and there was yet another coup. The military overthrew itself in that country. ECOWAS did nothing. Guinea happened, ECOWAS did nothing. Mali happened. What did ECOWAS do? Why didn't they threaten military action?
Right.
And so the fundamental question is, who is behind this? Is ECOWAS acting on its own initiative, or they are being pushed by foreign powers? If it is the case that they are being pushed by foreign powers and interests, which is obvious, then it is worrying. I mean, it's worrying, and this whole thing could plunge the sub-region into a catastrophe. I mean, if care is not taken.
Thank you for those initial thoughts. Let me come to Chukwuemeka Eze. Chukwuemeka, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Quick thoughts.
Well, I think I get a bit worried about some of the assumptions that we are making, which includes the fact that ECOWAS is not acting on its own. I think that's very worrisome. While I'm not debunking that, I should think that the fundamentals should be put on the table, which is, does ECOWAS...
But very quickly, Chukwuemeka, I've seen different documents and various suggestions and scenarios, and I don't think from where you sit, you can say for a fact that ECOWAS is completely acting on its own. I've heard certain things whispered that I cannot say on air, but you don't have the facts to say that ECOWAS is wholly acting on its own either, do you?
No, I don't. And that's why I'm saying that while I'm not debunking that, I think the fundamentals for me is whether there is an existing protocol that forbids the coup d'etat in West Africa, and whether these countries actually have ascribed to it through their national government. That's number one. Number two is that the fact that we also did not act in Burkina or in Mali the way we should act also tells me that lessons are being learned. And like my colleague from KIPTC said, we did our analysis and we feel that there could be two more if nothing is done in Niger. And that's not a trajectory that we want to go again. This is becoming very, very, very worrisome. But be that as it may, I think that we should also understand that ECOWAS standby force is one of ECOWAS response mechanisms. There's a reason why it is there. Of course, before you do such costly intervention, you have to tread carefully, especially given the kind of geopolitics that we're having in West Africa today. So you have to tread carefully, but nobody should make mistakes. ECOWAS standby force is part of ECOWAS response mechanism. As whether the junta will yield, I think to a very large extent, depending on the nature and character of the pressure that is being mounted on them, And I'm sure some of that would have happened yesterday behind closed doors, which is get a coalition of the willing and put more economic sanction, put more travel restrictions, and also stifle their socio-political economy. And then you get them to their knees. Because at the end of the day, we know the trajectory. We know the road normally followed, which is release the President Bazoum, and then take initial 6 months and say you want to extend it. And then it becomes a norm. It becomes a culture. And then 1 year down the line, or
impoverished populations, because these sanctions often end up worsening the plight of those already grinding down there. Is this the way to go? Even before we talk about the military option, the sanctions so far.
Right. Let's not forget, Dr. Chukwuemeka mentioned one of the responses, which is a ESF. One other response is placing sanctions, right? When you talk about conflict resolution as a whole, you have the preventive diplomacy. Now, sanctions are one of the ways to get conflict actors to the negotiation table. Already, we know Niger is one of the poorest. With these sanctions, it's biting hard. That is why the junta thought wise to appoint 21 ministers to represent. Now, that tells us what their intentions are. Okay. Now, it will only get worse for the economy of Niger. How long will the junta be able to withstand these sanctions? And individually, they also have been, affected. So in general, now when you look at reports, yesterday I had an opportunity to look at reports, the borderlines where traders have to go in Niger, it's all standstill. Nothing goes, nothing comes. So for my take, it will get worse. And for sanctions, it's one of the ways to get people to come to the negotiation table. And the earlier this junta realizes that it's going to affect not only them, but the whole populace. We're talking about people who rely on aid to survive. They are not getting the aid anymore because of these sanctions from the World Bank and elsewhere that are affecting the livelihood of the people. Then they should think that their actions are costing the people.
Right.
And the same people who are cheering them will soon jeer them.
Okay. That brings me to my next point, Austin Egbe. The same people who are cheering them now, will they maybe at a point jeer them? You have been there recently. You saw Nigeria has cut its electricity supply to Niger. But you saw, I am sure, that rally organized on the deadline day for the military intervention in Niger. And you saw the people that thronged the stadium to go and cheer the military junta. What picture do you see?
So two things. It's possible that the people who went, all the people on the camera right now were sponsored. It's possible. But I hear people genuinely saying they were tired of the democratic system. I hear people genuinely getting excited because they just wanted the president to just go. They didn't have the means to sack the president personally, but they are excited about those who have the guts to sack the president. Talking about impoverishment and all of that in Niger, Mali is also worst case scenario. Burkina Faso is poor. In the last 2-3 years, we've had this regime ongoing. What Niger has learned is just to take a clue from there. Look at what happened in Guinea. This is a typical example, Guinea. On the day the military took over, there was excitement on the street. People thought they were going to head towards an Eldorado, a state of Eldorado, a state where there will be no more poverty, a state where everything, in fact, there will be food on the table. But suddenly, months and years have gone by, and there is no revolt. The people are just angry, but angry within. Until a change of government happened in Guinea, you will not see it from the voices and the faces of the people. This is theoretical and very practical. Sanctions are good, yes, but Niger does have an opening to the world. And that's something that we need to put on the table. If you block Ecowas, which Ecowas has done with the cutting of electricity and etc., but there's another opening in Algeria. Algeria is open to the global community, to the world. And of course, maybe not the route of Libya, but look at the support that has come from Algeria. Niger is not just a member of ECOWAS. Niger also belongs to other regional blocs, particularly the Islamic bloc. And that you cannot just take away. If you close ECOWAS, others will come in. And that's exactly what has happened in Niger and Burkina Faso. You close it, Russia come in. You close it, China come in. You close it, Turkey come in. There are other superpower or other political alliances talking about the geopolitics that is in the region. If you close one, others will open up. How is Niger? How is Mali feeding now? How is Burkina feeding? How is Guinea feeding? It's because they've opened up their economy and others to the other area. If France can no longer take what they are taking from Niger, other entities will take it and will provide support, the necessary support. We've heard about commentaries about the junta in Niger requesting for the support of the Wagner group. Do you think it's just funny? No. These are orchestrated. It's a plan. Niger have had very sit meeting with the junta, particularly in Mali and Burkina, who have strong tie with Russia. You saw how the flags went on air the junta took over power. These are not the things we should look at. Standby force of ECOWAS. Why standby force of ECOWAS is good? I mean, it's good. I think ECOWAS made a mistake for going for confronting immediately after the coup, rather to have consulted. I mean, the theoretical opinions of conflict management is the CCC. You consult, you consolidate before you confront. In this case, ECOWAS went ahead to confront, and they told us yesterday that the issues they said are still on the table, and one of those was military intervention. If you look in between those lines, the real point on the table is military intervention, because they said they used two very key words: standby force activated, standby force deployed. What you are telling me is that move in, whatever it costs to get the president restored, get it done without paying attention to the many civilians, particularly Nigerians who have strong tie with Niger. The entire northern state.
If you look at the picture in Niger, has France, you know, the godfather, if you like, of Niger, one of its former French colonies, has France fallen out of favor by and large with the Nigerian people? And are you suggesting that the sanctions, biting as they are not working in Niger, and that it could be a wrong move?
So it's not a wrong move. It's one of the moves. I mean, it's part of the moves. I don't want to discontinue it. I'm saying, if you sanction these people, you open them up to another support. And
Okay.
that's exactly what is happening. And that's what I said about Mali. Why is Mali still on? Mali is largely run by aid, and they are still on. France, with all due respect, there's been a lot of the theory of decolonization about France, whether in Nigeria. If you look at what happened in Nigeria with the decolonization of France decolonization, you weep. And there's those conversations already. And you know what happened when the former representative, primary representative to the US and the UN, AU was removed on the advice of France, and that the woman is still making commentaries, and people are already getting agitated about the influence of France in the sub-region and the way and manner all of the, in quotes, neo-colonialism is impacting, particularly on the Francophone belt. And they all sing the same song. And that's why Dr. Victor was talking about the possibility of 2 new coups coming within the year. But when Niger happened, when Mali happened, I made a comment on air that after Mali, there's one coming very quickly. So when Niger came, it wasn't new to me, but the solution is not necessarily sanctions. The solution is that every other country right now must up their game in delivering democratic dividends, in uplifting the livelihood of the people, in solving and lifting people out of poverty. Daily people are going down below $1 a day. That is a worsening situation than the coup d'etat. In fact, countries are living in anarchy. Look at Nigeria, look at Ghana, look at Liberia, look at all of the countries in West Africa. Can we truly say that democracy is delivering?
Interesting questions there, which brings me to James Agalaga. What many people have spoken of, which explains, and mind you, there's been a domino effect. 7 successful coups in Western Central Africa out of 9 attempts. 2 attempts failed. We can look at Guinea-Bissau, for example. but 7 of them have been successful. And always the tail of the tape is the same. Democracy is failing. Of course, democracy has its own style of implementation in India, in Australia, and in Ghana, and maybe in some of these other countries. Maybe we're getting it wrong. What is your take on that? And you, as a member of parliament, the military option. At first instance, the Senate in Nigeria turned down Bola Tinubu. Ecowas is still pushing for that. I hear there is some standby force in there. Interestingly, according to the Associated Press, the last time that the United States Under Secretary of State, Victoria Nuland, she was rebuffed, but when she attempted making her way to Niger, what they shared, what the Associated Press has shared, is that there was a threat made that if there were to be any military intervention, they would bring some harm, let me leave it that way, to ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. How do you react to these 2 points?
Or just like the Nigerian Senate turned down President Tinubu in his quest to go to war, the Ghanaian Parliament would do same. We shall turn down President Akufo-Addo if this matter comes up before Parliament, and that is what we're pushing for. Number 2, first of all, let me address the issue of sanctions quickly and return to the question you just posed. Look, you think that sanctions in this case would work? I have my doubts. Even if ECOWAS continues on that path of maintaining the sanctions that have so far been imposed, the entire sub-region is going to be involved in the, if you like, domino effect of such a move. Take, for instance, Ghana. We rely heavily on Niger for onions. And the other day I heard the Onions Association complain bitterly that following the imposition of sanctions, most of the trucks that usually cut onions from Niger to Ghana got stranded along the Benin-Togo border. And immediately in this country, prices of onions shot up. Now, I am not too sure that the border remains closed because there was some opening. The truckers managed to leave the area and cut onions to this country. So that in itself is an indication that sanctions wouldn't work because the economies of Benin, Togo, and even Ghana would suffer. Food prices will shoot up, and onions, as you know, is one vegetable, or if you like, fruit, which is consumed a lot in our country. Now, Algeria borders Niger. Algeria clearly is not part of ECOWAS and will not support any sanctions against them. Mali, Burkina Faso, these are neighboring countries to Niger. Would they support any sanctions regime? I don't think so. And so straight away, you're going to have a challenge with enforcement. But come to think of it, look at the sheer size of Niger and its airspace. Mali and Burkina Faso. I mean, their airspace gives us the shortest route to Europe and the Americas. And the other day, when Niger closed its airspace, there was total chaos in the sub-region. If this continues, I mean, those would be, their own form of sanctions against ECOWAS. What is going to happen to people traveling to Europe and the Americas? Commerce will suffer. You see, so we need to be extremely careful here. Now, having said that, look, I don't support coups in any form. I don't support coups. But we should be, whilst we discuss ECOWAS mechanisms, which have been put in place to deal with coups such as preventive diplomacy, ECOWAS standby force, etc., etc. Let us begin to ask ourselves, what has been the response of ECOWAS to most of the happenings which eventually would result in coups in its member states. So we start with Guinea. What were the events that led to the coup in Guinea, and what was ECOWAS' own response? We saw what Alpha Conde did. He manipulated the country. What has been the response of ECOWAS? And I have been very consistent in making the case for ECOWAS to actively support the Burkina base to fight terrorism. What has been the response? The result is that President Kabore was removed because he just couldn't do much for the country's armed forces to ward off the terror threat. So I mean, ECOWAS back up its game. And let me sound the word of caution here. Nigeria cut electricity to Niger. You know, both countries share the Niger river.
Yeah.
Niger is upstream. Now, as I'm told, there have been agreements, I mean, in the past between the two countries, which allows for Nigeria to supply Niger about 70% of their electricity needs, in exchange for Niger not to contemplate damming the Niger River upstream. Now, don't you think that if such an agreement is in place, the imposition of sanctions by way of cutting electricity supply to Niger could have its own long-term repercussions, which would warrant the damming of the Niger River, which in itself can then become recipe for conflict between the two countries in the future, as we have seen in Ethiopia and Egypt, having challenges over the damming, the construction of the dam, the Renaissance Dam, over the Nile, I mean, upstream. So some of the measures, I think we need to think twice, reflect before we...
So tell me, very quickly, James Agaga, just confirm for me. So you are not for the military option. What then are you for? Because there must be some system of control. Are you for other sanctions, economic sanctions? Very briefly, in some 30 seconds. What then would you suggest?
We have been very clear that, look, let us engage in negotiations.
Okay.
Let us use diplomacy to prevail upon...
But they are not allowing diplomats to even come into the country.
Yes, it is because of the posturing, the initial posturing of ECOWAS wasn't in place. So the junta, I am told, were apprehensive of the fact that there was a likelihood that some intelligence people were embedded in the ECOWAS delegation and would spy on them if they were to allow them into their country.
Okay.
So there was a lot of suspicion right from the word go.
All right.
Because ECOWAS started with the threat to use force.
Okay. Thank you for those comments. Let me bring in Chukwu Emeka Eze, Executive Director, WANEP. And I want you to look at this. Are we creating pariah or outcast states in the ECOWAS sub-region? And what could be the consequences of saying? First off, look at food inflation in Ghana, the highest in sub-Saharan Africa at 122%. If Niger goes this way, like James just mentioned, onions, it could mean food prices could skyrocket even further. There is also the standpoint of flights, and they have declared a no-fly zone, so their airspace has been shut. But we know there has been movement, I think Mali and Burkina Faso, to them, which could indicate some interaction with those other, coup-hit states. In the meantime, the cost of flights has gone up, among other things, because now airlines have to take different routes, which are thousands of miles more than they would have done. What will be the impact of this?
Well, first of all, make no mistakes to make an assumption that there will be an easy way out. That's not going to happen. If you say you want to go the route of diplomacy, you are going to end up with a 4-year government or more, and then begin the process of a transition. That will happen. And we have all said the consequences of that. which is the fact that others will learn from that and still try to attempt a coup d'etat. So that's not an easy way out. The second one is economic sanction. Economic sanction is painful, not just to the people you're placing the sanction on, but also to yourselves. And people have said that very clearly. So if you look at the implication of that, whether it is in Mali, but again, as we continue to ask these questions about the dividends of democracies in this country, one of the major reasons for Mali was that the insurgents were encroaching into Bamako. Statistics have shown that we have more cases of insurgencies and insecurity in Mali since the takeover of the army. So as we are asking those questions, no doubt the Ecowas Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance is overdue for a review. And even the authority is aware of that. What is left is the political will. Because we have made that case severally, that there is need to ensure that we put term limits on the revised protocol. Unfortunately, some of our leaders on the region are kicking against it, and that's why it has not been reformed. Until it is reformed, there is nothing ECOWAS can do when you want to change your constitution. Absolutely nothing. The only reason ECOWAS can make it say when military take over is because there is a normative framework that says so. There is a policy that says so. Otherwise, ECOWAS cannot even intervene. And we need to be very clear and now take a decision as a community. If ECOWAS has outlived its usefulness, then let's go back to our nation states because it's not working. Otherwise, ECOWAS should have the capacity to treat bad behavior. Part of bad behavior is compelling the government of Niger or compelling the junta to back down on the position. Otherwise, we are going back to the part of our history that nobody wants to go to. We understand these challenges are coming because most of the countries in West Africa, we are moving away from consolidated autocracy to consolidated democracy. And you expect some of this. But if we don't have the legal framework, if we don't have the kind of normative framework that will address bad behavior, then there should be no need for that. I believe seriously that part of what may have taken place yesterday is who should be our best option to continue this negotiation. Those analyses should be made. I think also that part of it is, if we are going the way of sanction, what are the willing minds? Can we mobilize Algeria? Because there are countries, like Austin said, there are countries that if you don't mobilize as coalition of the willing, then the sanction will not work. But if you mobilize them, then the sanction will work because you're bringing them to their knees, And finally, for me, is when we say that this particular option, and I'm happy you asked that question, when we say this option cannot work or is not working, if you put that on a scale, and if you put the urgency of the matter on the scale, what should work? Of course, everybody understand how bad it is to take the military option. I am not advocating for that. But what I'm saying is that Niger should not make any mistake that if there is a coalition of the willing of West Africa, they can defeat West Africa with all the costs. So that option should be on the table as show of strength and force. But that should not be the preferred option. I agree with that.
So, gentlemen, I'm going to offer you there are four of you on board, 3 minutes, 30 seconds each on the next question I'm about to pose. And that's how we'll cap off this entire conversation. I want us to look at the different scenarios, and we've taken a look at some of them from different quarters, analytical quarters, scholarly quarters, about how to deal with the situation. So I'm going to take my time and walk you through the different scenarios and then get your take on what you think will work or which scenarios we can fuse together to deal with this situation, because it appears putches are they're coming back into vogue or in vogue again. And looking at the number of states that have fallen by the wayside, it's a ticking time bomb. You have just said, Austin, that we could lose 2 more states that could fall to coup d'etats, echoing the rhetoric of Professor Enning, Professor Vladimir Nchidanso. So the question is, what do we do now in Niger? And maybe in other countries that are yet to fall. God willing, they won't fall. So let's look at these scenarios. I'll start with you, Dr. Doke, on this. So stay with me. Scenario number 1, the CNSP, the junta in Niger, continues with its rebuffing of the diplomatic option, and maybe ECOWAS receives a UN Security Council sanctioning to invade. But it does not go well, and Niger rather demonstrates superior military strength and coordination. Bottom line, due to precise planning and execution, there are some gains made, but then there is the humanitarian impact. And the swift removal of the CNSP reduces disruption to daily life. So in that scenario, ECOWAS basically carries the day. Scenario number 3, a Bakhmut-type standoff. And if you followed what, and I'm sure you have, what has happened in Ukraine, you would attest to the facts. In this scenario, ECOWAS receives a UN Security Council sanction. ECOWAS, the mandate calls for a peaceful resolution. However, upon entering Niger, ECOWAS forces face unexpected resistance from the junta. There is a prolonged standoff, and that leads to heavy military casualties. And there is no real remedy, with Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso also supporting Niger. Scenario number 4, a mixed outcome, where ECOWAS forces receive this sanction, the conflict becomes protracted, ECOWAS itself takes a hit and faces immense pressure to reform its governance architecture, and there is no real end in sight. How do we deal with all of these scenarios and maintain that fragile balance we have? Look at the number of countries that have fallen and the prospects of some others going further down that road. I'll start with you, Dr. Doke.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Well, respectively, all scenarios, well, the question is, it doesn't really look good for the junta in Niger. But with option number 1, okay, it means that the UN Security Council has a lot to do when it comes to analyzing the situation. Then most people will now start asking the question, which they've already asked, are there interests from international partners, okay, going through the UN Security Council? Now, if we say that people have interest and are pushing ECOWAS to go in, let's ask the question, who are those international partners who control the Security Council? Okay, don't we think those who are sitting outside, whom we think or assume are pushing ECOWAS, can equally influence the Security Council to make a decision to go in? And if the Security Council gives the go-ahead, ECOWAS standby force moves in. All scenarios will create catastrophe, humanitarian crisis. Nigerians will lose, ECOWAS will lose. Other countries bordering Niger will lose, okay? The alliances that will be formed, Mali, Burkina, in line with Niger, are we ready for that? ECOWAS will be divided. There will be no unity. And we are proposing, or we are drumming in the regional hegemony when it comes to security, when it comes to peace, good governance. Okay, that is what we are trying to implement now. The regional hegemony is very essential. If we had that, we wouldn't be where we are. ECOWAS needs to set up. This aspect of having favorite elites in the sub-regional organization does not help. ECOWAS should be able to criticize, issue sanctions where necessary. When one state does not seem to be practicing democratic rules very well. We've seen it in Senegal, okay? Luckily, Macky Sall backed down on his intention to stand again. But we know the internal consequences that is happening now. If the ESF should go in, you have the eastern and the western components of battalions. Well, the west is controlled by the Senegal. Is Senegal ready to commit the troops? Looking at their internal wranglings now, I don't think so. Nigeria, represented the Eastern Battalion, may, but then we'll face opposition. As one of the colleagues also mentioned, the northern part of Nigeria has ties with Niger. We all know that. And we will have groups joining in to fight against ECOWAS. The whole situation does not look good for now. All regional bodies, International Peace and Security Council should really analyze the situation very well, because if they take the wrong step, we are going to face severe consequences. There will not be any solution to it now. We'll have protracted conflicts, we'll have proxy wars, we'll have armed groups springing up more than. Niger is very strategic when it comes to fighting extremism. So let's look at the situation well and then push more for preventive diplomacy. The sanctions are already there, yes. Let the sanctions do its job. And then hopefully the junta will come to the negotiation table.
All right. Dr. Doke, thank you. Just stay with us, listen to the other comments. I'll come to you now, Austin Egbe, for your take.
Thank you very much. All of the scenario you pointed, I don't see anyone coming up. Number one, the UN Security Council has France, has Russia. Both of them have interest in this area. If Russia agrees to sign up for war in Niger or to give backing to France to go into war in Niger, it means that Russia also will have a lot to gain. What you, France, are beginning, we are not interested. So it could be helping France to go into war where they will benefit. As we speak, Niger does have a lot of troops, both the American troops, even the Italian troops is in Niger. So one wonder how we even got to this point. Having said that, Dr. Victor said in whose interest. Don't forget there are gun merchants, warlords who are super excited to drag us into war and make a lot from us and make us drive. The truth is, if ECOWAS goes into the war, we will be spending dollars in billions or billions in dollars. Who funds that? Where is it going to come from? Definitely it's going to come from our hard-earned resources. We give you arms, then we take your resources. Don't forget the blood diamond. That is still on the table. That warlords, gun merchants invested so much in people helping to kill themselves while they make the country so dry. And I have a proposal, which I will call the number 5. We now know that ECOWAS and the Niger junta are at loggerheads. You can't solve a problem from the point of view of the problem. As it is, ECOWAS is not able, let me put it categorically clear, the only thing ECOWAS can do is to move in with the force, neutralize the junta, and clear the entire scenario. That is, for me, the best ECOWAS can do now. But is it the best option? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's a conversation for another day. But I think that would have been the first option in any case. Moving, don't do any, there would have been no need for sanctions. Moving quickly and clear them, but you already missed the opportunity. The proposal I'm bringing to the table, the AU, the ECOWAS has requested AU and the UN to support its position of yesterday. I mean, all of the positions that are still on the table. AU and UN don't have the mediating power right now. The junta will not allow ECOWAS in, but they may allow AU in. They may allow the UN in. What can happen is to negotiate from that outside perspective and get these two authorities to the table. I'm sorry to use the word two authorities because ECOWAS is bigger, far bigger than the junta, but the way it is now, it is literally between the Nigerian government and the junta. And that's the way it's clear. It's almost becoming straight up. That is why it was the Nigerian president who went to Nigerian parliament to seek approval for the deployment of security. The Ghana president did it.
I think your point has been forcefully made. James Agalga, your take.
Well, first of all, the scenarios you have presented, I think are very clear that the only body which is mandated to authorize the use of force is the UN Security Council. Now, the fundamental question to ask is, did we have a Security Council resolution authorizing the use of force prior to ECOWAS coming out to threaten to use force? The answer is no. And so straight away, the very decision of ECOWAS to use military force to dislodge the military junta in Niger was illegal. Absolutely, in accordance with the UN Charter. I mean, it was an illegal, decision. Now, having said that, looking at the scenarios, I don't see how the UN Security Council, as it is now, would have wherewithal to authorize military force in Niger. It will not happen because already the Wagner group has pledged support, and Wagner is nothing but a tool that Russia uses to advance its foreign policy objectives. And so you have Russia sitting in there. They're going to veto any attempt to introduce a resolution before the UN Security Council. So it will not happen. China is there. I mean, they will not allow the UN Security Council to pass any resolution. Now, but assuming that the UN Security Council itself were to agree that military force used in Niger, what would be the outcome? I can see the entire West African sub-region being plunged into war. And those who think that Niger, it would be easy for ECOWAS to run over Niger, they have to revise their laws.
And Niger, of course, is a vast,
it's
space.
It's a vast country. It's a vast country. So you cited the example of Bakhmut. Bakhmut may unfold in Niger because this is a vast country where you need countries that have experience in desert warfare. Which of the West African armies has that experience? Nigeria or which other country? I'm here to come to terms.
Okay.
So we're going to plunge the West African sub-region maybe into a West African world war with all the global superpowers having stakes and sponsoring from a distance. So you have a humanitarian disaster where the ordinary people are the ones who bear the brunt of such an intervention. So it's not going to be easy for us at all.
Okay.
I am guided by previous examples.
Okay.
When the United States moved into Libya and killed Muammar Gaddafi, what has been the state of affairs in that country today? I think Libya was better off under the dictatorship of Muammar Gaddafi than it is now, right now. Libya is a failed state. So let's think about this. You want ECOWAS to move into Niger, topple the regime, and reinstate a president who is no longer popular with the masses.
And that is the question. I thank you, James.
It will not work.
And that is the question because
it's the way to go.
Okay.
And that is what we must all endorse.
If that also comes into the fray because if you do this and if that person is still not popular with the masses, then what would you have done? That's the other side of the coin. But let me come to Chukwuemeka Eze. You have the final say. Quick thoughts for us.
First of all, let me acknowledge that all your scenarios are possible. They may not be likely, but we cannot remove them from the table. And all the costs of each of the scenarios you have painted is very visible. So we cannot start by saying that President Bazoum is no longer popular among the masses. That's not how democracy works. You go through election and you vote him out. Of course, we know that is not going to happen. He's now history. That is not going to happen. Reinstating him is an option that I know for sure will never happen again. So,
you think reinstating him is an impossibility?
It is going to be impossible because at the end of the day, if you're going to the route of diplomacy and win-win, that's part of what you're going to put on the table. He should go. The military should go. So otherwise you are favoring one side, and that's not going to happen in diplomacy. So what do we need to do? What is another option that you have not painted? I've heard what my brother said about bringing in African Union. The good news is African Union was actually at that summit, that emergency summit. There's a reason for that. If you don't get this coalition of the willing, you cannot achieve results. ECOWAS understand that. So, and those who are saying that military option should not be an option at all, we tried it in Gambia. That was the only language that Yahya Jammeh could hear. Why did it work? Because Yahya Jammeh knows that from the flank of Senegal, he was closed. Nigeria was coming, Ghana was coming. It is also harsh to say that such pronouncement is illegal. It is harsh to say that because I don't think so. We have had conventions in the past, what you need to do even if you begin that move and how you get approval from the UN even later on. Because let's not forget that we are talking about a regional bloc, as it were. So, but like most people have said, you're not going to get that approval from the UN. That is not going to happen because the interest of Russia is different from the interest of France in Niger.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, what ECOWAS need to do is to evaluate the costs of its peace and security architecture if any of this option is put on the table. That is what is going to happen. I believe seriously that what happened yesterday is that there was consultations, there will be more consultations about the countries with influence on Niger about a way out. If you want me to tell you the realistic case scenario, it is going to go almost the direction of Mali, Burkina, Guinea. The only difference may be that Niger gets 2 years instead of 4 years.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for having joined the conversation, for having shared your thoughts with us. Dr. Victor Doke, lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. James Agalga, Member of Parliament, Ranking Member, Defense and Interior Committee. Chukwuemeka Eze, Executive Director of WANEP, and Austin Egbe, Global Affairs Analyst. Gentlemen, we're so grateful. Thank you for having joined the conversation. Now, before we move on to our next conversation, water is life. If you're a man, about 61% of your water, your body is actually composed of water. If you're a woman, slightly less than that, about 57 to 58%. But how much water do you take in a day? You need about 2 liters. Are you meeting that requirement? Now, that is why I want to introduce you to Awake Purified drinking water. It is premium water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. If you're thinking of size, they've got everybody covered. 330, 500, 750 milliliters, 1.5 liters for those who always want more. If you're thinking of something for your office or home, 19-liter jar bottles, ideal for those situations. So all you must do now is stay awake with Awake Purified drinking water. It's another quality product of Casapreco Company Limited. Now, guess what? The heartwarming aspect. For every bottle you buy, for every purchase you make, a token is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. And that is indeed heartwarming. If you'd like to purchase in bulk, the number to call 0262 351 251. This advert is FDA approved. When we return, my own partner in good things, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa, is going to be interacting with our next guests on the Women Arise Conference 2023. Stay for that.
Hello there. Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedu-Lansa, and just gone by, Benjamin Akapo had that very important discussion about the developments in Niger and what we all need to know. But it's now time for me to have another important conversation. It's about the Women Arise Conference 2023. And I've got 2 wonderful women from the Action Chapel International. To my immediate left, I've got Reverend Na Korkoi Mills. She's National Executive of the Women of Action, and Lady Joanne Ejay, who is National Executive of the Women of Action. Good to have you here, ladies.
Good to have seen you too.
Yeah, and I'm sure just like my colleague observed, you look alike. Are you related? Oh, she's a big sister. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I'm happy to have you here. Let's talk about, before we talk about the Women Arise Convention, let's talk about Women of Action. What is that? Because I see that you're national executive, so I'm just trying to understand what Women of Action exactly is. Let me start with you, Rev.
So Women of Action is actually a part of the Action Chapel International Ministry. So it's one that's there, and we see to the needs of the women and the ladies who are coming up in the next generation. And we see to their day-to-day affairs, we try to help with their challenges and Christian walk, as it were. And it's something that's, you know, under the auspices of His Eminence, the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, and his wife, Lady Rosa Whitaker Duncan Williams.
All right, so Women of Action is across all your branches?
Yes, all our branches.
Okay, I like that. Women of Action, it almost like calls you to, you know, to do something, you know.
Wake up.
Yeah, you know, it's almost like a wake-up call, and I like it. So the Women of Action has this convention annually, which is the Women Arise Convention. Do you mind sharing with me, Lady AJ, why was this started in the first place? What birthed this whole idea of bringing women together, and what's the convention all about?
Okay, His Eminence, the Archbishop, it's this idea to bring the women together from all walks of life in the ministry. And the main idea is to empower the women in their careers, their spiritual goals, financially, socially, emotionally, and all that. That was why the group was put aside to empower women.
And how many years have you been doing this?
No, we've been doing it for quite some long, you know. But then with Women Arise, we started about 8 years ago. Okay. We're having our annual conventions every year, but Women Arise started 8 years ago.
And I'm sure the people have testimonies to share their experiences. Loads. I mean, top of your head, what would you say so far, I mean, has been the highlights from all the years that you've been having the convention?
I have been around Action a long time, and I can testify the goodness of the Lord. There were times when I've had severe pains where doctors have said, I mean, it's a no-go area, end of the road for me. But the women stood with me, they prayed, and the story changed. At my branch, people have loads of testimonies where they were close to walking out of their marriages. We stood with them, we prayed, and the tables have turned.
Oh, I like that. That's very heartwarming. And these are the really practical stories that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And you know, women, we are a very special breed. I was just having a conversation.
So special.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with a colleague because I had just come off radio and they were talking about love and money, which one you would choose. And then the whole conversation about when men love your wives as Christ loved the church and what it means, you know, and I said to that person, I am dead sure that if any man loved his wife as Christ loved the church, I'm not sure we'll be having any problems. I mean that's just
have one.
Yes, that's just one angle of the conversation. But that's just to suggest how special we feel as women. And most importantly, just yesterday I was having a conversation even about in academia, it appears that all over women are rising up. Women are beginning to give themselves a voice and some recognition. And I must say thank you to His Eminence Archbishop Duncan Williams for thinking about this and giving women the opportunity. Just see the testimonies that you've just shared. Imagine if you didn't have this particular conference. So tell us what this year's theme is about and who is going to be speaking and other details about the convention.
So the theme for this particular year is the empowered woman, taken from Proverbs 31:25, and we have a lot of women coming up, you know, to empower the women. So we have Reverend Dr. Christy Dotete from Solid Rock Chapel. We have Pastor Mrs. Eno Jerry Eze, the wife of
Oh wow!
She rose. She's good. We have Mrs. Elsie Ado Awazi, also a banker who's coming up, and then we have Miss Amwa Ajwa Inshiramwa, also from the Next Gen, a banker as well, who's also coming up, and it's going to be a glorious and an awesome time.
Then we have Bishop Patricia Sapo, who is the president of the Women of Action, also part of this speaker.
I mean, I'm just in love with your list, and I see that you're deliberately not choosing women who are seen as spiritual leaders alone. You're going into career, you're going into other development. Tell me why that is important, because you're an organization, a spiritual organization, but I see that there's some conscious effort not to only focus on the spiritual development. Why is that important for you?
Yeah, it's important because, like our team, Empowered Women, women need to be empowered. Not just spiritually, they need to be empowered financially, they need to be empowered emotionally, they need to be empowered socially. You know, so that is why this theme came about. And then two, we have panel discussions where we are bringing in the Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana and then Bishop Pat as part of the, the panelists, and then Reverend Christido Tete. Yes.
And do you want to take a bite of that? Why it's important not for us to only focus on the prayer and the fasting. And as women, we love that.
Exactly.
We are. I was just listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes in a reel yesterday, and he was talking about give a woman a prayer topic and she goes to war, because that's how we are made. You know. But why is it important for us to draw women's attention to the fact that that's important, but you must also get your finances right. You must also get your social interactions right. Why is it important? Let me take your...
Okay, so the Bible says in Proverbs 31:25 that strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. Now, most of the time, women in society are relegated to the background. So sometimes they even get married, and then I overheard somebody say that he asks you not to work, then you stay at home. But you see, we live in times when she brings a little, he brings a little, and we are able to take the children to the best of schools that we want to buy what we want to. I mean, we live comfortably, and then we have a happy home. So we are telling women that it's time to wake up, get your finances right, time to go back to school, time to help church, home, wherever you find yourself. So once the woman is empowered like that, she can flourish wherever she finds herself.
That's fantastic.
And to even add to it, we've had programs where we've taught the women how to do soap making, bead making, fascinators, just for them to have
skills, hand-on
skills. Have skills.
That's wonderful. So when is this beautiful conference happening? I can't wait. I mean, because I'm just yes.
I can't wait either.
Yeah.
It starts from the 17th of August this month.
Okay.
Through to Saturday, the 19th of August. The first day, the grand opening starts at 6 p.m. and finishes at 9 p.m.
Okay.
Will be done by Pastor Mrs. Endo Jerry Eze.
That is Jerry Eze's
That is Jerry Eze's wife. Yes. And then Friday morning, we have a talk and a medical screening as well. Then the Friday evening, we have 6 till 9 p.m. Saturday medical screening, and then we continue immediately at 10 till 2.
Okay, and this is happening at Action
Prayer Cathedral, yeah.
Okay, of the Spintex.
Of the Spintex.
All right, but there are many of us who can't come in person. Are there opportunities for us to also benefit as well?
Yes. All our social media handles. Yes.
So that's
Facebook.
Action Chapel.
Yes.
Okay.
Action Chapel. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Thread, and TikTok.
I like that. I like Thread. Very, very trendy church. So we just need to and thank you for doing this. So what is the expectation if I'm coming to this conference? What is that 1, 2, or 3 things that I'm guaranteed that I'll be leaving with?
Okay, one, it's a free program. You're not supposed to even register. And we also have buses available that will pick people to and fro from where they are coming from. But I can assure you that when you come to this year's convention, like our team says, you'll be empowered. Apart from being empowered, you have other social networks, making new friends, meeting new people. And then we also have a free health screening.
Which is very important.
Yeah. Free health screening for most of the women to know their status, and all that.
Right. So, on the 17th to the 19th of August, you have a lot of time to plan for that. So keep it locked. It is happening at the Action Chapel, Prayer Cathedral, and it's free, right? So you can just visit the Facebook page of Action Chapel, and you would get all the details on
Chapel Prayer
Cathedral, yes, Action Chapel Prayer Cathedral, where you can catch a bus, how you can be part of this, and for those of you who even have women groupings. I know that a lot of people have women groupings now, which is very inspiring beyond denominations. You know, we're trying to come together as women in Christ. So, I mean, you can be a part of this, right? This is open to all denominations.
It's open to all denominations. Even to our men.
Yes.
So please come join us.
Fantastic. So please make a date and join Reverend Nakokoi Mills and Lady Joanne Ejay from the 17th to the 19th of August. And it's the Women Arise 2023 convention. It promises to be a super, super event. You don't want to miss this, trust me. I know you are convinced, but do well to come, okay? But if you live very far from Accra or you're outside the country, you can catch up through the power of technology, and that's the benefit we have in this generation. And you know, I feel like I want to preach. The Spirit of God transcends borders and transcends technology, so you will definitely be blessed, I know. And so, you with the Reverend and Lady Ejay, so I think their grace is rubbing off me this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate what you do, and I trust that you will experience the beauty of the results of what you're doing and get more testimonies as the years go by. Definitely. Thank you so much. Well, that will be it. Do you want to add something? Yes.
On Saturday, Father, the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, will close us.
Oh, wow.
Pronounce blessings over
everyone
that
so
comes
please,
there. So we want to invite everybody to come.
Lives will be transformed.
It will never be the same again.
So that's on Saturday in the evening?
No. 10 a.m.
10 a.m. to 2, that's when it
yes.
closes. So please, 10 a.m. to 2 on Saturday. Maybe you're a working mother. So Thursday, Friday, but Saturday, please, let's pack Action Chapel. Let's fill the space and give it an overflow and receive the blessings of His Eminence, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. Thank you all so much for making time to join this conversation. When we come back, we'll get interactive with you. And thank you, Rev and Lady, for joining me. Thank you so much for staying on the AM show, and it's time to get interactive with you. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on all the issues we've been discussing so far. Benjamin has been speaking on the Niger issue and all the developments that have come up, quite interesting developments. And also we have been, bringing you blunt thoughts and other things today. And even,
do you want me to sing for you this morning? Would you like to hear a song from me?
Please go ahead.
I need your backup on this.
But I need to know the song before I can back you up.
Castle come day.
Hey.
Yatisi castle come day. Anadwe. Ekofuadwe. Yatisi castle come day. But do you know inflation now is the highest in this country in sub-Saharan Africa?
It's a rather sad development.
So January 1st, 2022, till around this time, food inflation has gone up by 122%. So something you would have bought for 100 cedis will now cost you 222 cedis.
And that's why I find it interesting that people don't believe that you can spend 300 cedis to prepare jollof for a family of 5.
I don't know. They're acting all surprised. But, there's this place where sometimes we get jollof. It moved from around 50-something cedis. It's now around 90 plus for a small pack of jollof with goat meat. If you want tilapia, it's more expensive. And that's one person. It's not like jollof and hibia.
It's... Benjamin,
Well, to be fair, they say they use basmati rice.
Well,
so let me be fair.
Yeah, but
I know that
but at least there's been an increment. So it means that even if you went to a place where you'd buy jollof for 3 cedis, you won't get it for 3 cedis a scoop. I used to buy wache for 2 cedis a scoop. Now it's from 7 cedis upwards. So if you're holding...
most of the places nowadays we buy rice, they'll tell you from 10 cedis, 15 cedis upwards. That's what they sell for.
Razak is our first caller from Tamale. Hello, Razak. Let's hear you.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Razak.
I have small contribution to make.
Please go ahead.
I'm a worker. I'm a teacher in Zabro Senior High. But all what is happening around us as a nation, it all boils down to one thing: indiscipline. Indiscipline is the problem. Leaders are not disciplined. Those they are leading are not disciplined. If everybody is disciplined, I don't think we will be where we are. That is my take. So I'm calling on the president, the stakeholders, everybody to tackle one issue. One thing in life: discipline. Please, if you are disciplined, you won't get to work late. If you are disciplined, you won't lie to people. If you are disciplined, you won't steal. All these issues that we are having is about discipline. And mind you, the next generation, what we are experiencing, will be worse than that. The indiscipline that is going on in our second cycle institution, when these people get to the stage where we are, things will be worse than that. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. That's Razak joining us from Tamale. And his concluding thoughts remind me of a caller who joined us yesterday who also spoke about what the future holds. And Benjamin, you see,
nowadays it's disturbing if you want to think. Wanting to think about the future.
Yes, exactly.
It's so nebulous. You don't know what.
Yes, and I've said that. I have engaged people, Uber drivers, and people who are so upset, especially about the wealth that the political class is amassing. And
I was at a barbershop yesterday, and they were equally upset.
Well, Adams is joining us. Hello, Adams. Let's hear you quickly. We have another caller on standby. Adams, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers.
Adams, please go ahead and share your thoughts with us.
Yeah. Without any political lenses, I am saying that without any political lenses on my face, I am speaking the ground. It's not easy.
Adams, can you speak up for me, please?
Okay, I think at least we got the thrust of what he's saying, that even with his own circumstances, things on the ground are not easy at all.
Right.
Do we have another call on?
Yes, Emmanuel. Hello, Emmanuel. Let's hear you. Please speak up and go straight to the point.
Yesterday I was listening to Kujetu from your station. He made mention that the parliament has no hand in Akufo-Addo's decision of sending military to Niger. But you see, looking at the way he's doing things, he is doing like he's practicing democracy, if I get his way. But how can you practice democracy and you send your soldiers to another country for such an action without the whole parliament house has no hand in that? So for my thought, the president himself even has a problem. So you should try and solve our homeland issue before you think of sending our soldiers, taxpayers' money to finance such a war.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Emmanuel. We have a caller from New Ebrim. Hello, Frank.
Yes, hello.
Hello, good morning to you. How's New Ebrim and what are your thoughts?
Yes, good morning. As you said, my name is Frank. I'm calling from New Ebrim. My problem is, with the pride and the paucity of just our leaders. You see, where we are now, and you still have people from the government defending everything, it's not like they are humble enough to tell us that, this is where we are. They are pleading with Ghanaians to at least, go with them. But no, the pride. And you see, my problem is with the youth of this nation. It's like we are not seeing what is happening. And I don't know if there's a problem with the media too. I think we need education. People are not privy to what is happening and the situation the country is in now. I don't think the youth in this nation know exactly what is happening. When it comes to a village closer to where I live now, we have people who say they are attending free education, right? They have free education. But people are in a community like Praso. And for them to, transform themselves from Praso to New Ebrim, to the secondary school, it's going to cost them in and out like 27. And the parents don't have even food in it. Like, they give to them as shop, like shop money. How will this children transport themselves from Praso to New Ebrim for the free education?
Right.
And this is why you have youth who they say they have free education, but they are not going.
Right.
I think you're getting what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We would have to pick other callers, Frank, but I appreciate your time here on the show. Selassie is calling us from La Paz. Hello, Selassie. Thank you for waiting. Would love to hear what you have to share.
Good morning. My problem is, after all we say, Ghana is hard, things are very hard. Next year, an election year, these politicians will still come back to us. Give us little bit of rice, little bit of oil, and some more money, and we forget about what is happening. After elections, we still complain. So the problem is we ourselves. It's not everybody. We allow ourselves to be used by these politicians. We don't have to say in Ghana now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Selassie is our last caller. Thank you all for being interactive with us and joining us on the interactive segment. Well, that will be it for our show this morning. Benjamin, any birthday shout-outs to make?
Nana dwe kufwadwe.
Yeah, so mischievous here. Well, happy birthday.
But come to me on a more serious note.
Someone said in our live Facebook feed that, stop complaining. I don't know whether he was referring to you or our callers, but he said stop the complaining. Basically, to paraphrase what he's saying, that this is a global phenomenon. People are struggling all over the world. So.
Okay. We wish him well on that journey. Maybe his circumstances. In this country, there's a small group of people, and then there are the masses. So maybe he's in the small group. We leave him to his.
Anyway, before we go, happy birthday to Samuel Ofosia Samoa Jr. You're 5 years today. Mom and Dad say they love you. They wish you all the best and God's blessings to you. And if you're celebrating your birthday today, we extend the same wishes and prayers to you as well. That'll be it for our show this week. And today we have been really pleased that you make time to join us every morning. And thank you for doing so and staying interactive with us. We continue the interaction on social media. We are Joy News on TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can also follow us on YouTube and watch all our videos and content. But from Benjamin and I, it's goodbye for now. We're back again next week with another exciting edition.